Tottenham away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tottenham Away. It's Monday night, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. If you're not a Spurs fan, you're also welcome to the show as always. We told you, people, what was going to happen. There are so many people that need to be called out tonight, and you are going to get called out, I'm telling you. Let's go around the panel quickly, say hello to everyone. If you don't know, it was a North London derby yesterday. My God, what a game. So much to talk about. Today's been even crazier than yesterday, if you ask me. But let's do a quick hello to everyone on the panel. JP, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, man, not too bad. I'm claiming that as a 2-0 win, right? Because like they didn't score. Nah, it is what it is. Do you know what? Deep down inside, I'm more pleased for Ange, more pleased for the team, and more pleased for all of our fans because we've had enough pain going there. And it did feel at the end of that game, it did feel a little bit disappointing that we didn't actually win that, you know. But we didn't get trounced. We stood our ground, didn't get pushed around. We weren't cardboard cutouts this time. It was nice to see. And to be honest, I was watching it with Shy, and near the end, I said to him, "It feels like we got this. You know, we're not. I wasn't crapping myself that they would score the winner 10 minutes. Bring it on, 10 minutes. Yes, we've got 10 minutes, as opposed to before it would have been, oh God, 10 minutes. Here we go, kind of thing. You know. Yeah, nice Sunday."
Will Stewart, you did a watch along. You also came on the show briefly late last night as well to just remind Stefan of what's what. How you doing?
Well, I'm disappointed that we didn't win. I think we dropped 2 points yesterday. I don't look. I have tried over the past 2 years to be rational, logical, objective in all of my footballing opinions, evidence-based opinions, right? Opinions that are based on a foundation of evidence. But apparently that doesn't go over very well in the football community. So you know what? If, I need to take my football philosopher hat off and I'm just going to go straight up shiny knob, dude, and just be completely off the wall and irrational. And, because apparently that's the way that you're supposed to be. If you have ball knowledge, you're supposed to, not base things on facts, just go off with, your imagination and feelings. So, hey, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what the saying says, right?
Talking about shiny knobs.
That was a good transition. We didn't plan that, by the way.
We didn't plan it at all. We're gonna get into Paul Merson tonight for sure because I think he might be back on the sniff, but that's a different conversation. Maz, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Good to see everyone on the panel again. Yeah, I'm a little bit with Will on this. I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get all of the 3 points. But I'm also a bit with JP in the sense that I'm really happy for the team. I think it's done probably done their confidence a world of good. Going toe to toe with Arsenal at their ground. I'm really pleased that our new signings performed really well for the first sort of North London derby. And I just find the Arsenal fan base comical and fraudulent all at the same time, really. So, yeah, all good.
Talking about comical and fraudulent, this was 1 week ago.
But yeah, we will do the double over Spurs. 110%.
And TJ is probably one of the most rational gooners
He's a
out
good
there.
one. TJ's
And
TJ's a good one.
that's the bottom. Like that's the measured take, right? Big up TJ, by the way. TJ, Connor, Jez, those guys. That's the measured take, right? They are at the, bottom end of the scale when it comes to.
No, Will, I won't have this. Don't let their softy, be kind voices fool you. They're gooners.
Hey, they may be gooners, but at least they're human, right?
Yeah,
For me,
absolutely,
you have two
They're
different
good guys.
levels of gooners, right? You've got the humans, and then you have the aliens, right? So
make sure you like and subscribe to TJ Warren TV, and then after our show, unsubscribe. Big up TJ and the boys. Lee,
Good lad.
how you doing, brother? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Start of another week. My boys are on an unbeaten run, 3 games in 3 at the beginning of the season. And then a nice 2-2 draw, which I think I said it last night. I was a bit disappointed the way that we ended the game out. I think we could have gone and beaten them. But it is what it is. Manager makes the decisions. But overall happy. Still keeping my feet on the ground. Another challenge in Liverpool this week. My only worry is maybe with a couple of things that happened at the weekend, we're starting to look a little bit thin in choice in case anything happens. So we'll have to see how that works out for this weekend, because obviously there's not a lot of news come out about certain people today. So see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. These injuries are racking up. Let's have a quick shout out to everyone in the comments. We've got Roy in the house, Jason, Chris, Scott M, Robers. Big up to you guys. Adrian, big up to Adrian. He was on the show last night. We've got Tony, Ryan Isaacs, Louis, Graham in the house. How you doing, Graham? He was at the game as well.
Big up, Graham.
On Sunday.
Big up, Graham.
Big up, Graham. SVAROGBG in the house. We've got Conrad in the house. Language Angels, how are you doing? Joe Phillips, we've got JJ, Top Spurs, we've got Chris, Edwards in the house, Beyond 72, Just Fly, Benjamin, we've got Stixie, aka Dean, we've got Wayne Holland in the house, we've got Roy, Ojam, Tom81, who's been having a field day on the socials today. El Said, big up to you. Ojam's in the house. Rathish, who's on the show on Friday, big up to you. We've got Richard, Declan's in the house. Ojam, we've got Orsheham. How you doing? Min Chi, I think this is a new fan of the show. Thanks for joining us, Min Chi.
Thank you.
Joe Phillips, big up to you. EVSP, Alex from the Cyprus Spurs Supporters Club, big up to you. Ronan's coming because he thinks they might beat us on Saturday. We'll talk
Sniffing.
about it later
He's
on.
sniffing.
Joe Phillips. And notice, no Oregon Gooner, no Frankfurt Gooner, no Rams, no Zaffa Gooner. Where are they?
I'm sure they'll be in here in a minute. I'm sure they'll be in a minute.
Well, I hope so, because you told me to book it. I booked it. 5-1, you said book it. Where are you? Where are you? Let's see if they turn up.
There's 176 people watching, and there's not that many comments yet. So they're in there. They're just they're biding their time.
They're shy.
Well, listen, guys.
They're ghosting. They're ghosting the chat, just like Odegaard ghosted that game yesterday.
Did he play? Odegaard.
I don't know. I didn't hear his name mentioned once from the announcer, so I have no idea if he played or not. Apparently,
I thought Rice was injured from the start. I didn't even see him touch the ball much, really.
I forgot he was playing.
Odegaard or Odegaard or Ghostergaard?
Ghostergaard. More like.
Big up to John George, who just joined us as well. Monopetti. I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm just going to call it Ace. Mark's in the house as well. Big up to you guys. Late arrivals and William as well. Big up to all of you. Listen, let's get straight into it because there's so much to talk about because, my God. So, before the game, Sonny, he said, Arsenal won't want to face us at this time. Right? That's what he said. They don't want to face us. Everyone's running for each other. We're fighting for each other. If someone comes off and give you a hand off, everyone is happy to do that. That makes us really strong. He warned them, right? He fired shots. Some
And,
said it's
and
arrogant,
according to
some
the
said
Arsenal fans, Son saying that meant that they were putting up copies of that, postering it up all over the locker
On the
room,
wall, yeah.
on the walls, in above the toilets, the bottom of the urinals, you know, wherever they're posting that stuff at. They were supposedly doing that. And this is all I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk about Son today, just because, like I said, I've taken my football philosopher hat off, and now I'm just irrational. 5 out of 3, right? 3 appearances as a striker, 5 and 3. Name another striker in the league that has 5 goals and 3 appearances.
He's also the only striker to have buried every single one of his chances that he's had in front of goal.
5 shots on target, 5 goals in that position.
And what a game. Arsenal away to hit the big 150 goals for Sonny as well. 150.
Big up
This
that
is the man.
Second highest scorer in Premier League history for the club.
And 75% of our fan base wanted him out last year. Remember that? We don't forget.
Some wanted him out this season. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Some wanted him out after 2 games on the left. But anyway, look, Sonny, he fired some shots, and then Ange, before the game, he weighed in. He vowed to scare the life out of Arsenal. So, listen, we went into this game with a little bit of chest, and we were told,
play
reality
an
check.
open game, you'll
happen.
get ripped apart.
We got told it's going to be a reality check. That was AFTV before kickoff, right? We were told by the Gooners, 5-1, book it. This is what we were told, people. This is what we were told. We were told that if you play Ange ball, if you dare play a high line, we're going to get taught like PSV were. This is what the conversation was about. And we maintained, you know what? We're going to get a draw. We're going to do something. Anyway, so the game started. These were the starting lineups for Tottenham. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie, Basuma, Sarr, Maddison, Kulu, Son and Johnson. The surprise was Johnson starting, Solomon on the bench. And Arsenal went with Raya. So Ramsdale dropped. White, Saliba, Gabriel Zinchenko, Rice, Vieira, Odegaard, Saka, Jesus, and Nketiah. The surprise was Trossard was injured. So they went with Jesus out wide and Nketiah up front. So, guys, when you saw the starting lineups, what did you feel? Because for me, you know, I was at the Emirates in the drinks food court area. A lot of Spurs fans were saying, do you know what? No Trossard, this could be interesting for us. And with Johnson playing up front, that's a bit more pace. So we actually grew in optimism as a fan base at the Emirates. How did you guys feel, JP, when you saw the starting lineups?
No, I think one of the things was obviously the surprise was like Johnson starting, but you kind of understood it, right? Because of his pace. The rest of the team kind of like spoke for itself. I think, you know, like you wouldn't have changed anything kind of like based on that. And the fact that Trossard wasn't around as well, it did give you that little bit of a boost before the game. But, you know, it is at their place and stuff like that. But I was confident in our attacking line. I was confident in Johnson because of his pace, and let's see what he can do. Even though he was unlucky with the finish, kind of like when he came on as a sub the other day. And the fact that Richie was still on the bench was a big thing, because I had a few people talking about, oh, Richie came on and did really well and turned the game against Sheffield United and he should start and stuff. It was like, nah. And I think Ange currently thinks that way too. He's maybe thinks he's coming on as a sub last 15-20 minutes, whatever it is. However, I'm sure we'll talk about the subs, which I'm flabbergasted about. But yeah, no, start the game, I was kind of up for it. Big time.
Yeah, confident with the starting lineup. Will, 2 things before you talk about the starting lineup. First of all, just remember this super chat. I'm going to come back to it. Ryan Isaac says, a super chat for Will. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. Son as a number 9 against a high line is quality. Against a low block, against Sheffield, it's a bit different. Arsenal are shit. So what do you think about Sonny against a high line and Sonny against a team that plays with a low block? But before you answer this, Arsenal Fan TV made a big deal about the comments Son made about you're not going to want to play us, okay? And they called out Son. Today, a Man United fan on their channel called them out for trying to doubt Son. Listen to what they said, right? I'm going to play you a video. Let's see if I can get it up.
Yeah, there's still.
Oops, let me do that again. Sorry, guys.
Respect to Spurs.
I'm not giving any respect to them.
And then they get look, that's unfortunate. They don't go with the runners. It hits off. Romero goes in. Then you're going, Spurs in trouble here.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong video. It's this one.
You know what? You know what's ironic? I think you need to apologise to Son.
To Son? Me?
I watched some of the previews, yeah, and you was like, Son, what do you mean? We think you're gonna be scared of you? What are you gonna do? And they didn't win. Man's came to the patch and scored 2 goals. Scored 2 goals.
Think on it. Hey.
Listen,
I'm not apologising to Son.
I know
because Son said Arsenal won't want to play us
And you
this
didn't.
time. No.
They
You had the
grilled
volume
him.
up a bit too high on that one, my man.
Yeah,
ears
sorry,
are
I'm
blowing
gonna learn to. It was no, do you know what it is? The actual audio on AFTV, the mics went on their actual show, so it's not actually me. It's their show. But anyway, so they called out Robbie for his comments against Son, and obviously Ryan's got this super chat as well. So Will, what was your take on that?
No, I mean, look. First of all, the audience may know, but Ryan's been a little bit upset that Harry Kane's no longer at the club, and a little hurt that Son is taking that glory away from Harry Kane so far this season. I don't think that one game against Sheffield United.
He was wrong though. Will. Look, he said he was wrong.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Appreciate it. Hey, that shows a rational human being. That's awesome. You're not an alien, Ryan. So, big up. But I don't think one game against Sheffield United is evidence that Son can't play against a low block. I mean, how many goals did Harry Kane not score against? How many games did we play? The team set up a low block against us, and Harry Kane didn't score. Multiple. I mean, I can look at the last year's fixtures and count 4 of them right now, right? So you can't say that because Son didn't score against Sheffield United that he will never score against any team that sets up against us in a low block. That's just not true, right? The Sheffield United game, he didn't have a single ball played to his feet inside the box. You can't expect a guy to score a goal if he doesn't get the ball at his feet in the box, right? Just because Richarlison came on a couple minutes later and scored a header, it doesn't mean that Son Heung-min can't score against teams set up in a low block, right? Just because Harry Kane scores 30% of his goals with his head, Son may not get that 30%, but he's going to get every single goal that Harry Kane could score against a low block with his feet. Because we know Son is a more clinical finisher with his feet than Harry Kane ever was. Right? That's not even debatable. Not even debatable. So yeah, I will never come on any show and say Son's brilliant in the air. Son can pull out headers. Son can do all of this. But if he finds the box, like you saw him today, where James Maddison played a half a yard pass into Son, into tight space, inside the box, by the way, not running through in behind, right? And all it takes is a half touch, and it's hitting the back of the net. But you can't tell me he can't do that in a low block. At that point in time in that game, when Son scored his first goal, they had how many defenders did Arsenal have in the box at that point in time?
It's about 5, wasn't it?
Yeah. So why can't he do that against other teams too? It doesn't follow.
Trying to tackle him as well. The 3 players trying to tackle him at the same time.
So I mean, it's about finding his feet, right? If you want Son to score goals in this particular system, you have to put the ball in his feet, in and around his feet, right? It can be on the half volley, it can be on the volley, it can be on the ground, but it needs to be in and around his feet. We all know Son's not going to get there and score, 10 goals from his head, right? It needs to be on the ground to his feet. Perisic is not that guy, right? Perisic doesn't put balls into the box on the ground to people's feet. They're aerial balls. That's why with players like Kulusevski, Solomon, Brendan Johnson, these players who find and do that, James Maddison, players who can find him on the ground in the box, he'll score goals against low blocks. No problem.
I think the early area, where Son struggles a little bit is when his back is towards, his back is to goal. So when he's got a defender tight on him and he gets the ball played into his feet, whereas Harry Kane is quite good at fending them off with his upper body strength. I think Son,
on the 18-yard, at the edge of the 18-yard box, holding up play, he's not going to be as strong as Harry Kane for sure.
Yeah.
But Harry Kane's not scoring goals from there either, right?
No.
That's a different aspect of the game. Son's
and I don't
strong.
think Kane can turn and sprint like Son does either. So half a dozen of one, half a dozen of the other.
Maz, let me come to you. Before I do, just got a super chat here from Joseph Cottrell. I think he's an Arsenal fan. He says, Arsenal hype wins. Spurs hype draws. Well, you hyped. You didn't win.
And you didn't win.
Can
I'm going to say this right now. Last season, after watching Arsenal play.
You're gone.
I was this season, after watching Arsenal play, last year was Arsenal's Leicester year, and they couldn't even do what Leicester did.
Mm. All the hype last season came to nothing, eh?
And can I just remind you, Joseph, of what the man who said they're going to win 5-1. He actually made a bet with Sava. They're going to win 5-1, so he's lost the bet. He said, you lot were going to win 5-1. That was his hype. Listen to what he said after your match. This is what he said post-match.
They played better than us at the Emirates.
And that hurt. That's what hurts.
Of course, because, bro, like, it hurts more because it's Tottenham and it's the North London derby. But the reality is, I really thought we're going to kick on from last season. And whether that's winning...
We played better than you at the Emirates. His words. The man that said you were going to pump us 5-1. So, listen, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Hype.
Well,
Maz.
Another thing on this that I find really funny from Arsenal fans, right, is they keep coming back to Tottenham away last season where they beat us, right? They keep coming back to that. Oh, blah blah blah. Do they forget when they came to our ground the season before that and we spanked them 3-0 to the point and ruined their chances of getting Champions League? Did they did they conveniently forget that one time in the past 10 years that they came to our ground and got a result? The time before that, we spanked them just as bad as they spanked us. Right? And I said it yesterday on the show, somewhat in jest, but no, I'm being dead serious now. If Arsenal come to our ground and play the way that they played yesterday, we will beat them. No doubt in my mind, we will beat them. Don't ask me for a reason because I don't need one.
Selective memory, Will, hey? It's selective memory.
Selective something. Maz, you the starting lineups.
I was really actually pleased when I saw the starting lineup because I was worried that Solomon wouldn't be that effective in this game with the physicality of and the size of the Arsenal team versus him. I just felt in my gut that he was a bit too small and maybe lightweight for it. So when I saw Johnson on the left, that I thought, oh yeah, that makes really good sense, to be honest with you, especially with his pace. Aside from that, it was obviously good to see Trossard not in the team. That was a good surprise. So overall, I was pretty pleased with the starting lineup from our end, and them losing Trossard done us a favour. In respect that Trossard probably was their best winger so far over the last 6 months or whenever they signed him. Maybe Saka, but that's what I heard some of the Arsenal fans say anyway. Saka
was going to roast Udogie. Udogie's never played against someone like him.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm just that's my answer to your question. I think one thing that a lot of the fans, especially the Arsenal fans, didn't speak, and to be fair, even we didn't really speak about it. And I kept hearing this over and over and over again on our shows and some of the other shows. Is Arsenal saying, "Oh yeah, but we had injuries," and I'm thinking, well, Yeah, well, so did we. But I don't even think that's the point. I'm like, you're 4 years in to your project. It's up to the manager, Fraudetta. How do you say it still?
Fraudetta.
Yeah.
Fraudetta.
Yeah. Fraudetta.
Fraudetta.
Right. To by now, after £700 million worth of investment over those 4 years, to have backups in every single position. The fact that he hasn't done that, they don't have any excuse, not one excuse as to why their squad isn't capable to field players that they think should be in that team. It's their fault. We've had 3 months. So, yeah.
Maz, I've been saying it for ages. This manager they've got, I think he's a fraud. He spent loads of money, but I think he's fraudulent. And even their main guy on AFTV said Arteta had a howler. He blamed the manager. So, you know, at the end of the day, Postecoglou came into Spurs and he inherited a group of players. Okay, we signed 4 players, Vicario, Maddison, Mickey van der Ven, and there's one other. Who else we signed? Solomon, I think, right? That actually played for us regular.
Vicario
and
as well.
Udogie, yes, I mentioned Vicario. And Udogie came back from loan, but we signed him last season. Okay. But he's had to deal with the hand he's been given in the space of, 2 months? He's had to get the best out of Basuma. He's lost the best player we had in Kane. He's had to then he's then put Son up front. He's then had to try and regalvanize Kulusevski. We've dealt with the Perisic injury. We've also got Bentancur, who's been out since January. He's got a defense that was absolutely diabolical, that he's then had to try and somehow get them playing out from the back under pressure and teams that press us. And we went to the Emirates and we're punching out these stats. Possession more than them. Total shots the same. On target the same.
53% possession.
More passes. It's what we've done with the possession. We have the same shots, same number on target, more passes. This is our 6th game of the season. This is Arteta's 4th year.
But it's not even, those stats are misleading because of the last 20 minutes of the game after Son and Maddison came off, right? Like, yes, the totals are the totals, but I'm sorry, this whole narrative, right, that they dominated us in the first half is just not right. It's not true. It's not even close, right? We had 60% to their 40 in the first half. The thing that they did do well is, and this is the thing, I don't want to hear Arsenal fans saying that we played bad. You know, you guys only did this because we were awful, blah, blah, blah. No, you guys came at us in the first half and pressed us with everything you had, and you still couldn't get the ball. And the only chances that came from you in the first half were chances we gave you from our mistakes. Mistakes.
Okay, so it's interesting you said that. We were trying to play out from the back. They were pressing us, but they still couldn't get the ball off us. It's interesting you said that, right? I want to come to Lee and ask Lee what he thought about the first half. But just to back up what Will said, this is what a big Man United YouTuber had to say about Tottenham. And I want you to listen to the beginning bit about Spurs having to deal with the Arsenal press, right? Listen to what he says.
You should have put him to bed.
Udogi's on there, and you didn't. But what did they do? They showed character. Yeah,
I agree.
And they played some good football. And you know what? All the hype that's around Maddison. Yeah, you can steal other people's things and all that. Get your own moves, bruv.
Sorry, let me start that again. Sorry.
No, and what Ange Postecoglou has done to go into a North London derby and face adversity where actually the first 10-15 minutes, I was like, Spurs are playing out the press.
Yeah, they're still
they're looking all right. Arsenal are really
we need to give more respect to Spurs here.
No, I'm not giving any respect to them.
And then they get look, that's unfortunate. They don't go with the runners. It hits off. Romero goes in. Then you're going, Spurs are in trouble here. Yeah, Arsenal are gonna come.
Yeah, we should have put him to bed.
Udogi's on there, and you didn't. But what did they do? They showed character. Yeah,
I agree.
And they played some good football. And you know what? All the hype that's around Maddison. Yeah, you can steal other people's things and all that. Get your own moves, bruv. I don't love that. Like, get your own stylie. Yeah. Get your own stylie. You're doing all that, but Maddison's right. He must have still been doing that when I spun him and left him for the goal. It was an even game, and I think Spurs deserve a lot of credit when they're not getting.
Because you know what?
Spurs beat the press. That's what he said. Spurs beat the press.
The whole first half we did. That's why we had more possession.
I use that video, Will, to link into what you said, because you're a Spurs fan saying it. So to avoid people from thinking, oh, you're just biased because you're a Spurs fan. Well, hold on, he's a Man United fan.
Mo on Never a Foul on yesterday's show, their after show on Never a Foul. Mo, who shit on us and said we had zero chance of getting a result. Period.
He shit all over us.
But he came back and said the exact same thing too. Go over to Never a Foul and watch their after show yesterday. And he came back and he said, "You guys pressed them with everything you had, and you couldn't take it off them." He said the exact same thing.
Even Expression's brother Rance said the same thing. And he was really impressed with how Vicario passed the ball.
And he's neutral as well, because he's not Tottenham Arsenal's brother. He's Man United. Lee, let me get you in here, right? First half Tottenham. A lot of people said that we were under the cosh. Arsenal were a better team. We're saying, well, hold on. We kind of saw something a little bit different. They had a couple of moments where we did some sloppy passes at the back, losing the ball, possession on the edge of our box, and they were in, but they didn't capitalise. And then the last 10 minutes, Spurs looked like they got hot control of the game in a more attacking sense. How did you see the first half from Spurs? Did you think that Arsenal dominated us, or did you see a different game?
I think I saw the same as what people have been describing, right? So the first 5 or 10 minutes is always telling. You know that we want to go there and play our game. I'm glad he didn't change the team, apart from the one change. I'm glad he stuck to his guns. And I think that the first 5 or 10 minutes, for me, was telling in the sense of, are we going to try and play out from the back against, do we have the ability to do it? Now, last season, I'd say that absolutely no way we had the ability. But obviously this season is different, and we've got people that are good on the ball, good with their feet, the goalie. There's a connection there between, defence, midfield, etc. And as you say, apart from a few stupid mistakes, I mean, what the hell Maddison was doing in their own box and having that ball taken off him by Jesus that's just wake up, boy. You've got to wake up. I think we played it out really well. Even I was like, I think at one point I see like a little bit of play where it went out to like Porro and then went into Romero and then over to Van der Ven, and then Romero got it back and he passed it between two Arsenal players like across the box, and I was just like, all right, okay, they've got the confidence to do this, right? They're not scared of playing out the back. They've got the confidence to pass. They've got the confidence to get into space. And no, I don't think they dominated us. I think what they did, I think the way it looked the way it did, because for the first 25, 30 minutes or so, I think Arsenal's best player, although he went missing, was Odegaard, because he didn't stop trying to press. You could see him everywhere. He was here, left, right, trying to press front, and we just played it around him. I think the only thing that I would say, two things that I would say. One, we weren't quick enough. We looked for the first 15 or so minutes when we passed around. We looked like we were trying to walk it out, not play it out. We were trying to walk it out too slow at the back. And also, I know people have been praising him, but I have to say, for the first 15 minutes or so, I think Basuma was having the worst game of his life this season.
Yeah, we said on the last one.
He just didn't seem like he was awake. It's like he needed a little bit of caffeine or something to wake him up. He definitely grew into that game and got better, but he just seemed not his normal self. It's almost like he was frightened to use his own the skill that we know that he's got of quick turns round a player or something like that. He just didn't seem to want to do that, and then something clicked, and then he sort of started doing it, and he became the Basuma we wanted. But I don't think I think a few. I mean, that this whole Udoji thing and Saka down the side and stuff like that, apart from the one time where we had a bit of a misunderstanding between who's going to Saka in terms of the goal, which was an own goal anyway, I don't think he was that effective against Udoji. And even when the guy had it, he got the yellow card, which, we're giving out yellow cards like Skittles at the moment for ridiculous things. I think he showed the maturity, didn't change the way that he was playing, and I think he held up really well. I'm more disappointed with the second half than I am with the first half, if I'm honest with you. I wasn't, usually by that time, usually by half time, if they scored a goal and my arms are ringing and stuff like that, I get a bit worried and that, but I wasn't really. I was quite enjoying the game, enjoying watching it, and I thought we were both. It was balanced. It was a balanced game. I don't think any particular people were coming out on top at that point. I think he'd have got to gone over way.
So I felt the last 10 minutes of the first half, Spurs really put their foot, got a foot in the game in the sense of we began to really threaten. I think Johnson should have scored that goal. I think he's fluffed that shot, if you ask me. I don't know if it just came a bit behind him but if that was Kane, that's going bottom corner. If that's Son, that's going bottom corner. He just sent the ball too close to the middle of the goal, which gave Ray just about enough time to get across. I'm not taking anything away from Ray because I thought it was a great save. But if that was in the corner, he's not saving it. And that's the difference between Son and Kane having that chance. You saw Son's both his goals off the post. It was like clinical. The goalie can't get there. And I think we should have scored there. Pape Sarr, his shooting is abysmal. He had some chances from range. He's hit the bloody roof of the stadium.
Well, I said it during the watch along. He's the reincarnation of Musa Sissoko when it comes to shots from outside the box.
Will, you're not wrong. It was terrible. But we were causing them problems and they didn't know what to do. So 1-1 I think was about right at halftime. I know Arsenal fans will say no, it should be more because of Jesus' chance. Well, no, because he missed. That's the difference. If you score, you score. If you don't, yeah. But then going into the second half.
1 second, Stel. Sorry to interrupt. I think the key things in the first half that were really evident to me, and justified the things we've been saying. I think since the start of the season is that Declan Rice certainly, or based on that performance, I haven't seen every single game they've played so far, but based on the few times that I have seen him, isn't £105 million player. Certainly when you compare him to what we have currently in our team and how well our players are currently playing, that goes for any of our midfielders currently.
But also, Maz, he was injured. Maz, he was injured.
Well,
he's playing injured.
It's funny how their top midfielders every time they play us always get injured, every single time. It happened to parties, happened, all the time. It's like they bottle it every single time. Surprise. And
it's because they can't handle it.
Yeah, another thing as well is we heard a lot about how quality Odegaard is, and don't get me wrong, he is a quality player. But is he as good as Maddison? And based so far off this season, it's not even close. No. And I'm with you, what you said, Stel. I'm just shocked by how good Maddison actually is. I knew he was good. His stats were brilliant at Leicester, but I didn't realise he was this good, especially going from a Leicester team to a Spurs team and that jump up, or supposed jump up in quality. How he's just come into this team.
It seems like he's raised his levels as well, Maz, hasn't he? And he's enjoying his football right now.
Do you know what? I can't believe, having watched Maddison after 6 games, right? I cannot believe no other club went in for him. Like, I'm genuinely stunned. We got him for £40 million.
I mean, Newcastle did go in for him, right? We were in a not necessarily a bidding war, but we were going after him as the same time they did. He chose us over Newcastle.
I think that's because
his wife chose the London Costa.
Right. So God bless London.
Yeah.
I tell you, he's good.
And the crappy weather in Newcastle. Right? So.
Big up, Murray.
Murray, big up to you, my man. Jump in. We're just wrapping up what we thought about the first half. Arsenal Spurs. Anything you want to add that we haven't said already?
I'm melting. It's scorching hot here in Florida, close to 100 degrees. Got me a nice.
I'm glad I left then, because it wasn't 100 degrees yesterday. It was close, but it wasn't.
It's hot today. I got me a cherry Coke, cold one, and first half yesterday, we were doing the watch along. The first 18, 20 minutes, it seemed like we were very nervous, but we weathered the storm. They were pressing us. We were able to get through the press. Arsenal fans may seem like, oh my goodness, they totally dominate. No, it was just that, yes, it seemed like they put the pressure on, but we had the possession. We also had the same amount of chances the first half.
More than them. Not the same. We had more.
So it was just like, okay. At best, let's say even the first half. I know we're going.
That's being generous.
That's being generous. All right, we'll call it even, but they made it seem like, they could have closed the game off. Like Don Robbie, I saw earlier on the road, say, we could have closed the game off 2-3-0. Same thing that Stefan was saying last night. We could have closed the game 2-3-0. No,
they didn't.
You don't work with if, coulda, shoulda. We could have scored with our chances in the first half. It could have been 2-1, right? But we don't work by coulda, shoulda, woulda. We go by facts.
We would have finished in the top 2 last year if we could count all of our coulda, woulda, shouldas.
Yeah, exactly.
Won the league.
The people, and listen to this. The people, they're like,
it's true. We won every game.
Yeah. And the people that they were talking about coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? Gabriel Jesus. Is he clinical? Is he like Haaland? Is he like Son? Is he like Kane?
No, he's not.
No.
That's why Man City will have to let him go.
No, hold on. But this is the funniest part about this, because I've watched Igal. I followed Igal around YouTube yesterday, just filling my folder full of good things to talk about today. They're counting Gabriel Jesus's shot from the byline that hit Vicario in his shins as a big chance. Literally, what's so funny about this is they count it. The XG and I know people don't care about XG, 5%. So that means 5 times out of 100 he scores that goal. 5 times out of 100, and you're counting that as a big chance? Please, dude, please. And Ken, the only big chances they had was Gabriel Jesus from around the penalty area that he skied, right? The one he skied over the bar. And Nketiah's one that Vicario saved. That was it. Those were the only chances, only quality chances they had in the entire first half.
And the thing is,
it's those two guys. It's not like Benzema or Mbappe missing. It's those two guys
gave the ball away.
Yeah, they're not really clinical. And then one more thing is they're trying to seem like, okay, when Rice left the game, that's when our midfield took over. No. Matter of fact, their first goal was of the fault of Declan Rice, right? If he didn't play defense on that first goal, right? Maybe that first goal never happens. Trust me, they made it seem like, once Declan Rice came out, like Declan Rice was, I barely heard his name in the first half. Like, come on now. When Declan Rice came out, that's when their midfield came. Get that crap.
I think another thing as well, and it was a good point well made by Bill on last night on the stream that you done, Mari, is that okay, they were all over us for the first 25 minutes, half an hour, but Saka didn't get the better of Udogie. He didn't beat him. There was one
dribbles. That was it.
Johnson,
in the whole game. Right? In the whole game. 2 successful dribbles in the whole game.
Exactly. And even those dribbles were really going off to the side and then getting that cross/shot in, which luckily got deflected in the goal by Romero. So it's, they're making out that Udogie effectively was no good. In fact, I think he dealt with that onslaught in the first half against him amazingly well. He didn't crumble.
Didn't even get that much help.
He got inside Udogie twice in the first half. That was it in the whole game.
I agree, Will, to watch the game twice, because I actually went back. Flex, I saw you put the video. Flex did a good job for a neutral in breaking down the game. First of all, big up Scott M. Gabriel Jesus is like with Charleston. They choke. So lucky is Son missing, Kane missing, Benzema missing, Haaland missing, even Raheem Sterling missing, right? I don't rate Gabriel Jesus. He's not that great. So him missing is normal. Second thing, that you have to watch the game twice. Yes, you're right. Udogie, he didn't beat Udogie. There was a yardage of space. The closest guy that was to him was Johnson. So he didn't beat him. And big up to Udogie after getting that yellow, keeping his composure the rest of the game. We didn't get super lucky. Jesus missing. Jesus is not that good.
And Maury, and he was attacking still, and he was still attacking, and he was still getting forward, and he was still roughing it in the midfield, but in his inverted position as well.
Can I say something?
Son put on a clinic for the Arsenal strikers, by the way, and Nketiah had almost the exact same A goal. XG is different by like 0.02%.
That Nketiah was crap. I watched him.
Son showed, who, by the way, Arsenal AFTV in their choosing the combined 11 said Son is finished. He's done. He's dead food. He's wasted. He's a waster. Son showed all of your strikers how to put those chances away. Calm, collected, didn't even break a sweat, and it was like Rhea who, boom, side net, 2-2.
Easily.
I think the funniest thing, Will, when he was through for his second goal, you saw Gabriel trying to scream and try and put him off.
He didn't even blink.
Son was like ice cold, man.
Can I tell you who on the pitch really got into people's heads and he wound them up, and he's very, very smart with him. And I watched him do it 3-4 times right in front, and I thought, you are a little shit, but my God, I'm so glad you're on my team. Maddison. Maddison is a massive wind-up merchant.
He is massive.
And they all got rattled. Because they didn't know how to do it back, because I don't think he gets wound up the way he was winding them up. But I want to go into the second half, right? So it's 1-1.
Oh, can I say one thing about the first half? Can I say the one thing about the first half? Did this not be the first half? The one that Nketiah slide? Because Ian Wright, who is Mr. Arsenal.
That was second half.
Oh, okay. He said something very interesting about that slide and why the Nketiah got lucky.
But Murray, it wasn't just the slide. Dude, I took a screenshot of it, right? We got booked for this.
The refereeing was farcical.
I don't understand that.
The refereeing was farcical.
Bissouma turned around to Saliba and gave him some verbal jip for this hands in the face. The referee's come over and he got booked for saying to the ref, dude, he's like, put his hands anyway. The ref was
disgusting. Yeah.
That ref was a joke.
Second half, though, everything went their way, dude. Everything went Arsenal way. Second half, we've come out. There were some changes by Arsenal. We were quite happy because obviously over the years, we know that these Chelsea rejects, Gallas, Cech, Louise, Willian have destroyed Arsenal. So it was great to see the latest crop of rejects, Jorginho and Havertz, the Chelsea boys, step in. They were awful. Both of them were awful. I've got nothing good to say about these two for Arsenal. I'll praise some other Arsenal players, but these two were a joke. So when they came on, as Spurs fans, you're thinking, do you know what? Yeah, come on, please. Sadly for us, we took off Maddison and Son. If they stayed on, we could have crushed them. We'll get into that. But there was two things that happened for me that turned the game. I know a lot of Arsenal fans, and this is just my perspective in the stands watching it, what I saw. I know a lot of Arsenal fans will say, oh, Jesus missing that shot could have changed the game. I disagree. Where the game changed for Arsenal was this. In the first half, Udogie was getting to grips with the game. Pape Sarr was not having a good first half, right? By his standards that we've seen, he was not having a good game. And a lot of Spurs fans were saying, get him off, bring on Højbjerg. Udogie's got to go off. The game's too big for him. Bring on Ben Davies. And I said to them, and these were fans in terraces, and I was saying to them, are you fucking crazy? Højbjerg and Ben Davies. Have you not seen what happens when them two play against Arsenal? We've come here with a fresh crop. We've come here with a new mentality. If Ange means business, he'll keep both Pape Sarr and Udogie on the pitch, because how are they ever going to learn and get grips with the levels we want to go to unless they can get through this game? Last year, I was against the youngsters playing because I said the environment's wrong. The environment around Tottenham, Levy out, Stellini out, Conte out, this player's shit, get direct. The environment was horrible. The environment is good. Let the youngsters play. So the first game changer was Ange keeping Udogie and Pape Sarr on the pitch because they both grew into the game. They became quite good for us the second half. So that was a game-changing moment for us, whereas Arteta was tinkering, changing, fucking it all up, bringing all sorts of clowns on the pitch. And the other thing, mark my words when I say this, When Arsenal scored that penalty, the stadium erupted. It absolutely went nuts. But when Son scored the second, let me tell
30
you something.
seconds later.
Oh, no,
The
that was amazing.
whole stadium deflated. You could feel the oxygen
You
suck
could feel
out
it
of their
on
lungs.
TV, bro.
Yeah,
we said it in the
was
watch
amazing. What a moment.
The away end, I've been to a lot of games in my life. I've been to a few away games. That goal, that terrace, it was mental. Absolutely insane, that Spurs away end. And that whole stadium looked at us and they're like, fuck, this lot mean business. And that second goal changed it again because we got control of the game from there on for me. We were completely in control. And Basuma bossed it. Basuma bossed that second half. There was one moment in the second half, I don't know if you saw it on TV. Him and Saliba were both running to the ball. And it was a 50-50 battle. Basuma throws him to the ground with a shoulder barge and then runs away. Have you ever seen Basuma being bullied like that in your life? Oh my God.
Saliba, you mean?
Saliba, sorry, yeah.
You
never seen Saliba bullied like that. Basuma
couldn't handle it.
Man,
no, and I said this too. I said this in the first for the lineups. Like, I'm sure, I don't know how. Obviously, you didn't watch the watch along, Sel, because you were at the game. Yeah, but you didn't. I know, but what I'm saying is,
he was very good.
The reason why their players came off injured and why their players got shut up sock is because they could not handle the physicality and the power that we were playing with. I said, as soon as I saw the lineup before the game even kicked off, Mari was there. I told TJ, I said, Vieira is going to get manhandled. And they're like, no, Vieira's been pretty good for us. I said, no, he cannot handle the physicality of our midfield. He will get beat. He got beat up so bad he couldn't even come back out of the tunnel. Same thing with Declan Rice. Was running around all day chasing James Maddison that he pulled a muscle in his calf because he couldn't handle the amount of pressure that Maddison was putting him under. It's not because we didn't get lucky because Rice went off. Rice got hurt because he couldn't handle our midfield dribbling around him and passing around him at will.
And you know what?
I think people with Basuma, I think.
Let me come to you. Then I want to come to you straight away. Before I come to you though, just to like double down on what I said. That second goal sucked the life out of all of them. Just listen to what Lee judges, what he said about how he felt in that stadium. Right, listen to what he says.
We needed to make a statement against him today. 10 minutes from the end, guys. I every time they went forward, I don't know if I'm watching a different game. It looked like I was bricking it, and at the end, with 5 minutes to go, I'm just saying, get me out of this stadium with a point. And I'm sorry, at home and your game for titles and things like that, that ain't good enough. Spurs today were a very, very good team. I think we played right into their hands today, and.
Get me out of that stadium. I'm telling you, that's how they felt. I was there. Sorry, Matt, to interrupt you.
No, mate. I think with Basuma, especially in the first half, people think, oh, he wasn't affecting the game like he has done against the other teams. But I think that's because it was such a battle in the first 35, 40 minutes that it was incredibly physical in that middle of that, the park. And effectively him, Maddison and Sarr, bossing that midfield and teaching the Arsenal midfield a lesson for that first half. But when you look at Maddison, Basuma's stats, they're incredible. Certainly the eye test in the first half doesn't match the overall stats of the whole game. But the second half, his quality just shone through.
Do you want me to read out the stats, Maz? 94% pass accuracy, 71 touches, 51 out of 54 passes completed, 6 out of 9 ground duels won, 4 out of 4 tackles won, 4 ball recoveries, 1 out of 1 aerial duels won, 1 out of 1 dribbles completed. Absolutely immense.
And the main point that I was going to come to, in that was all done with him being on an unfair booking, hamstrung.
Yeah, on a yellow
for that
card.
game, on a yellow card.
Declan Rice didn't have a single tackle the entire game.
There you go. There you go.
That just shows you, eh? Bottled
That
it.
chant yesterday was great. Is this a library? We silenced them. Absolutely silenced them.
The only look, I'm telling you, I watched the game again when I got home from my drive last night, right? Just because I was home and I didn't have anything else to do, and I was trying to get myself to fall asleep, and watching Arsenal play helps me do that. The only time that they recovered the ball in that first half was when we gave it away. Right? We gave it away by either holding on to the ball too long. Right? There was times in the first half when Romero was holding on to the ball too long and waiting for them to come on to him too long, and they might have blocked a pass. Was when we made a mistake. Right? When we made a mistake. Not one time did our players get thrown to the ground, muscled off the ball, right? Spun, right? Look at the times. How many? Even Van der Ven, our 20-year-old center back playing in the Premier League for the first time in his life, was spinning Nketiah like a dreidel.
Only 5 games under his belt.
Yeah, the pressure would come onto him, and he looked like he was,
Will, I want to address that Oregon goon. Right, the reason why we're happy.
He predicted they were going to beat us on TJ's channel. Just so you know, as he predicted.
The reason why
I'm pissed off.
We are happy. Well, yeah, that too. Right, is because you're 4 years into your process. 4 years and £700 million into your process. We're 3 months into our process, and we came to your stadium and bossed you.
I'm not even happy about that. The only thing I am happy about is how all of this season, when all of the stats, all of the stat haters, the eye test merchants, all of you freaking people who can't think objectively to save your life. When I said that statistically our team was playing better than your team, and that if we played to the statistical capacity that we've been playing to, that we will get a result at your stadium, it showed it on the day, right? It showed it on the day for the world to see. And all of this hype about, we're seriously, do you guys think that you're Man City? You're not. You're not even Tottenham right now. Look at, I wish I had my Zoom cam set up right now, but I don't. You're not even Tottenham right now. So stop pretending to be Man City. Stop.
And you're not the only one to say this. I was never trying to be like and they were saying Arsenal is not Man City. And yesterday definitely proved it. They're not Man City. Another thing too, and like I said, someone wants to support Oregon Goon and whatsoever. People do not listen. We are in a process. We're looking for positivity. We could have lost that game 3-2. What we were looking for is just to see how this team is going
progressing.
on. Yep. And progressive. And I'm gonna say this: the man is here. We can only hope for him, for the team to do better. Because what's the point of playing the game? What's the point of playing the season, right? Someone wants to say, all right, we lucked out 6 results. Okay. So you want us to lose the rest of the 32? I don't understand how some fans think, because we are happy with the progress with the team, get a draw. So now we should root for our team to lose for 32. What kind of fan are you? No, I don't want to support any club or be associated with fans that wants their club to lose 32 times the rest of the season. I don't want to associate with that. I truly don't. I truly don't. You know what I'm saying? I know where our problems lie in. Levy, the board, and whatsoever. It's been frustrating for 23 years. For me, it's been 14 years, a part of it. But I'm always going to hope for the best for my team. And right now, our team, our fans are looking at this. We're like, okay, we're seeing some progress. It's not even finished product.
It's not even that. It took Arteta 3 years to show Arsenal fans the glimpse that we've seen in the 6 weeks. It took him 3 years to show it. And for it to even become impossible to see, and we have seen it in 6 weeks. Arteta is a little guy, and Ange is a big guy, just like the thumbnail says. Go look at it. Big Ange, little Teta, little titties, little titty Teta. Big double D Ange.
I want to
bring in the chest.
I want to bring in Lee and JP. But Joe Linton, thanks for your super chat. He said Ange scored that wannabe Pep fraud.
100% Joe Linton.
Let me tell me what you think of this, right? Because I've had a whole week of hearing bullshit from Arsenal fans, like absolute crock of shit, and Man United, Chelsea, everyone just mudding us, blah, blah, blah. And we sat saying, look, we know we're not good enough to beat Arsenal. We don't think we are good enough just yet, although we should have really in the end beaten them. But we were quite grounded. We said, but we know what's going on, and we do think we can come to you and get a draw. Now, is it a case? Because I think this is what's happening. Like, we watch all the Spurs games. We either go to the stadium and watch it, or we watch it on TV. But we watch our team and we listen to what our manager says. We listen to what the players say, and then we actually analyze what you've said. Is that what you've done? And other than the Carabao Cup, everything adds up. Except when Ange said one thing, did something else in the Carabao Cup. It's the only blip. But in the league, we've watched Tottenham. We know what we're watching. We know what we're seeing. Do you think it's the case that all these Arsenal fans like Oregon Gunnar? And by the way, big up Oregon Gunnar, because he's the only Gunnar that's had the balls to turn up in the comments. So respect to you for that.
Well, the chicken basketball guy. The chicken basketball guy in there throwing shade on dumb comments, but that's okay.
Okay, but you're all still frauds for your comments. Is it a case, right? Is it a case? They just haven't watched us. They might have seen the Man United Spurs game because it's a Big Six game, but they've watched like highlights on ESPN or Match of the Day. They've watched clips of 30 seconds on Twitter and YouTube. They haven't actually watched, whereas we're watching it every week, which is why we said, do you know what? We can do something because we're watching it. We've watched over 500 minutes of Spurs this season, maybe more. Is it a case, guys? Do you think they just haven't watched us, like genuinely watched us?
Well, I don't think. I don't think.
They were naive, and they were naive with their opinions because of it. Do you think that's?
I think they're. I think. Look, they're falling into the exact same trap.
I want JP and Lee to say as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna just. I'll just give my opinion first, and then I'll shut my mouth.
All right. Cool.
Now I've lost my train of thought. If you let me do it, I'd have been done already. I think they're underestimating Ange, right? And this is what I've heard, right? This style of football is unsustainable. It's not. I've heard this all day today. I've heard on, Terry Fleurs went and said it. There was a couple, Arsenal fans are saying it. And I'm going to tell them right now while they're wrong. And I'm not going to use any statistics. I'm just going to use my footballing knowledge, my eye test. The big Ange, so Ange Postecoglou, has been underrated his entire career, and yet he's succeeded everywhere. And you talk about sustainability. Every club that he's been to so far, he took a club and taught them to play his way and was successful every time. Not sometimes, every time, right? And I don't want to put pressure on Ange here as a Spurs fan to say that just because of that he's going, therefore he will be successful at Tottenham. What I'm saying is there's absolutely verifiable evidence that you can go back and see that this style of play in his system is sustainable. You don't think that in his second year at Celtic that the Rangers manager was going to sit there and going to try to study the way he was and find a way to shut him down? And what did Postecoglou do in the second season? Won the freaking treble. Right? There is no watching him and finding it will be found out and they'll come up. The tacticians will do this. You think that just because it's the Scottish League that they don't have the same tacticians, they don't have the same footballing prowess as managers to manage things? The player level quality is different. But you don't think that the upper house, the coach level is different? It's not.
But he was in Japan. Like Arsene Wenger came from Japan.
It's harder. You think Arteta goes to Scotland and does at Celtic what Pep did at Celtic? Fuck no. No way. No way Arteta goes and manages Celtic and does with that level of player what he's doing at Arsenal. He couldn't do it in the first 3 years at Arsenal with players that are way better than have played in the Scottish League. Please.
And how much money has he spent as well on top of that? It's just madness. I would say still, yes, they've probably not seen Tottenham fully. They've not understand it. They've seen clips here and there. I think with a lot of people, it's the last memory, right? Oh, Sheffield United. Oh, it took them to injury time. They couldn't break them down. Blah 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 blah. That's probably what stuck in a lot of people's minds. Plus, overhyping their own team, rightly or wrongly. I believe overhyping their own team. They felt, oh, if we can play football, if you come and play open against us, we'll rip you apart. We'll pick you off. Don't work like that, does it? Didn't work like that at all. And I do believe that they underestimated us. And I don't know what it would have been interesting as a fly on the wall with Arteta to go, shit, that didn't work. In it, like
he had to go out and buy a comfort kangaroo and show him clips of Crocodile Dundee to get him ready for the game. That's your manager, by the way, Gooners. That's your manager, right? Going out and buying comfort animals in their circle of trust. And
5 games is taking.
Our manager says that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Lee, why do you think Arsenal went into this game with such hype on themselves and completely dismissing us? Why do you think?
Because they didn't do their homework. Simple as that. As I said to Stefan last night, they just took the stance of, oh, they're coming to us, we're going to batter them like we always do, blah blah blah. It's the same old. And as I said to him, no, I said it was going to be 2-2 last Monday as well. Replay and watch it. That's exactly what I said. But on the basis that you've got to look at the current form and what games we've had, what they've had, the results that have come out, and base your thinking on that. And that's what I did. And that's why I think the way that we're both playing at the moment, I think we are almost going to sort of like cancel each other out, and that's why I thought it'd be a draw, and I thought there'd be goals in the game, absolutely. But they underestimated us. It's as simple as that. They just took years of us going there, getting beaten, getting the odd result here and there, and didn't look at what's going on right now. I mean, you can't take an unbeaten team seriously, then you're gonna fail even at home. It's as simple as that. Absolutely simple.
Say something else.
It is also down to the manager big time, because previously we've probably gone to that game not necessarily in a negative state, but in a. I mean, I don't even want to use the word fearful.
I said as soon as you fear that you have to change your style, you've lost the game.
Foot, right? It's always been on the back foot. Let's just hold tight for a bit. Let's see if we can hit them on a break. We'll hold them for 80 minutes, and if it's 1-1 or something like that, then we'll try and go nick it in the last 5 minutes, go gung ho. But we've always been a bit protective of not wanting to lose the game, as opposed to the mentality now is like, let's go out and win a game of football. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go out and win
last week.
Let's go out and win that game of football.
I'd be more disappointed if we turned up there and basically changed our philosophy because it was Arsenal than if we'd lost 1 or 2-0. Because if you're trying to create an identity and a mentality, you have to apply that to every single game. You don't change. You tinker depending on the thing, but you don't change your mentality. And that's what I think I found better than anything when I saw the lineups. And we're not going to fear Arsenal. It's just they're just another team, and they're on the same kind of run as we are. So there's no reason why we can't do what they do and give them a good game.
So go back
they were saying Murray, they were saying dumb shit as well. Like, oh, we heard this last time Conte came to us unbeaten and look what happened. And we were saying to them, dude, watch the way we're playing. Like, we're averaging high possession, high number of passes, high number of shots, high number of shots on target. Conte, listen, I love Conte. I still wish we kept him and backed him because he's a proven winner at an elite level.
Jose.
But Ange's a different manager. He's a different style. I will back all Spurs managers because I'm not going to get into Levy in that. But anyway, But it's the way we were going out about our business where we felt, do you know what? This is going to be different for you lot this time. Sorry, Mario.
No, Mark. I'm gonna put Mark Brown's comments, and this is the one. Like, I almost want to buy a box of Q-tips.
This is all they've got left. This is all they've
because
got
they
left.
can't because they're not understanding that we're not celebrating the draw at all. We lost. Look, I'm going to say this clearly. We dropped 2 points yesterday. We dropped 2 points. Not you. You got away with a point yesterday. We dropped 2 points. We should have won that game. I'm not celebrating the draw. I am not happy we're to draw. I'm happy that we proved to the people that you're supposedly in a title race with that you are a guy. You are double D filled with tissues, and you're actually an A cup. And if they come at you like we did, they can run you off the park. That's what we exposed. That you guys are not anywhere near Man City or even Liverpool's levels right now. Both those teams will run you at the Emirates this season. They will run you.
If they will go into the Etihad and they put out a draw, truly Don Robbie be twerking and lead judges be twerking. That they had
that's a great point. That's a great point.
And Man City, trust me. And then I could question your ambition or your quality.
No, I love you, Gunnar.
Yeah, I would question their ambition. You know why Arsenal's taking it more as a loss? Because they have to keep up with Man City. They know that it's pretty much over. And some of the shows right now, Big Six, Football Terrace, they're ready to say, yeah, it's over. And that's why they're mad. It's a loss. Because if they were playing Man City, they would have been twerking for a draw against City. All right? And then, don't want to say it all over again. For us, we were supposed to get pumped. We were the ones supposed to be pumped. We were the new bloods. We were the ones in the new process.
We're the away team, Maury. We're the away team.
We've
away games this season. Only 2 away games.
Look, all that stuff. Don't give them excuses, Maury. I'm sorry, but every time you bring up the fact that we got 7 young guys and then we've only 7 weeks in, you're giving them ammunition to actually doubt the quality of football that we're playing right now. We beat them on the field, in their own backyard, playing their style of football, and we were better than them. How much background we have in it is irrelevant. On the day, this Tottenham team went to their backyard, played their football, and we beat them at it. We beat them at it.
That is not their style. It's only a recent thing, Will.
Because the other thing I heard a lot was it was our litmus test, right? Was that their litmus test?
This in Liverpool.
I'm not saying Gunnar, we beat you in the game. No, we did. It wasn't for 30 minutes. It was for 80 minutes. You guys still think that you played well in the first half. You didn't. You pressed us. You pressed us hard. You gave it all you had, and we still passed around you and kept the ball off your feet. How is that you dominating us? Just because you were pressing high and we were passing around without giving the ball away, isn't that the whole point of tiki-taka football, possession-based football, is to not give you the ball? And then once you got tired, look, this whole first half was exactly like Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman in their first fight. Muhammad Ali, he juked and jived and he took punches and he blocked and he wore George Foreman down. And as soon as he showed any weakness, like you did in the last 15 to 20 minutes of the first half, he started punching on him and knocked him out. Undefeated in 41 fights and knocked him down. And that's exactly what we did to you. And the only reason why you got away with it at the point was because of bad referee calls in that penalty and us scoring goals for you because you couldn't do it yourself. Back to you, Stelios. I'm done.
Can I just follow on from what I was talking about last night as well? I'm not celebrating a draw. I'm actually more disappointed, and I know some people are going to hate this, is that I'm more disappointed in the choices that Ange made in that second half, because up until the point of the substitutions in the second half, I think my personal opinion was what I was watching on that thing is that we could go and win that game quite easily. Not even like nick it. I think we can go and win that game until he made the decisions to take Son and Maddison off, which I thought Maddison was fair game because obviously he had, the knee didn't look great. He went on for 10 minutes. I get that. But the changes that he made then gave a different picture because we didn't have the same people in the same positions closing people down, and it looked like Arsenal were coming onto us. We could have still nicked the game at the end. I think, again, like the Fulham game, he made the wrong choice there. He's only human, and I know he's going to make decisions that we're not going to like, but I think he made the wrong choice bringing Højbjerg on. If it was me, I would have, like most of the other younger guys, I would have said, you know what? I'm going to chuck that young Argentinian guy on there. I'll drop Sonny off a little bit off of him to cover for Maddison, and I'll stick him on. He's got nothing to lose. We know. I'm not going to stop ranting about Richarlison because I could go on for hours about that guy. But
Lee
he had nothing to lose. Keep it, because Højbjerg came on and just looked lost, completely lost.
He was chasing shadows, wasn't he?
Because he's not 10, right?
No, exactly.
I think that's harsh. I don't think he looked lost.
I thought Højbjerg was all right, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
He only had 15 touches, but he didn't play that long.
It's black and white. Up until that point, we were still in the game with a chance to go on and win it. I think we could have made plenty of chances to go and win it. As soon as you make those substitutions, the game changed completely. Nothing to do with the way that Arsenal changed. It was just because those two players came on, and they were different caliber than the guys that were on in the first place.
I don't think the issue was who came on. I think the issue was who went off. As soon as Maddison and Son went off, the whole away end, we said, let's just get a draw now, because we knew we weren't going to create enough.
But that's creativity and threat, isn't it? No creativity.
But you take them both off, and this is what I'm saying, though. You take them both off.
There's a reason, though.
All of your creativity is gone.
Yeah, but Maddison's knee popped. He had to take him off.
Yeah,
and Son
I've just said,
Son wasn't 100% fit before the game, though.
As I said, I'd rather have. Hold on, Will. One second. I'd rather have an 80% Son that makes one or two more runs for the rest 20 more minutes and maybe goes off the pace a little bit than a Richarlison who's going to face that way.
Exactly.
But what then?
Liverpool,
come on, guys. They're professional footballers. Exactly. They're not injured. They're just tired.
Hold on.
Even if they're tired, look.
1 minute. Let me answer this. Sorry. What happens if an 80% Son, as a result of staying on, becomes a 50% Son against Liverpool?
Exactly. And that was my point. That was my point. My thing is Ange's boobs, his chest is so big, right? That he was like, these Wasters aren't getting another goal the rest of this game. I'm going to pull my 2 stars off so that we can go beat Liverpool next weekend. He was already thinking to the next game. He's like, these guys ain't getting nothing in their own backyard. I can take my 2 stars off the pitch who have absolutely embarrassed the entire squad so that they can go fit and beat Arsenal or beat Liverpool next weekend. That's why he did it. And that was wrong. We should have gone out and gotten the 3 points on the day. I agree. That would have been my particular choice. But that's how big Ange's boobs are.
Do you know something else as well, right? I think I think bringing on Velez would have been a massive gamble because he hasn't even played English football.
It's a different threat
over
well.
He hasn't.
Don't make me start on him, please.
No. Listen. Lee. I don't like Richarlison, and even after the Sheffield United game, I still said I don't care. He's still not good enough, right? But what Ange did was he had to make changes. I think he was forced into making some changes, and this is the weakness of Tottenham. This is where we're going to struggle at phases of the season when we have to make changes, especially now Perisic is out. We've got a problem because that bench is so weak. It is so weak.
If Perisic comes on instead of Solomon, we win that game yesterday, 100%. The way we were playing and the way that they were breaking down, Perisic puts that ball onto Richarlison's head.
Solomon did nothing.
Solomon was a waste.
He didn't actually
do
nothing when he came on.
Yeah, nothing, absolutely nothing.
I get what Lee's saying.
But we didn't have Perisic. That's why Arsenal got out of there with a point.
Yeah, I think losing Perisic has really affected us, if I'm honest.
It will affect us.
I think Ange is in a difficult. I think Ange is in a difficult situation where, as much as he wants to win the game now, he's also got to think about the next games because he hasn't got the rotation abilities. Listen, if we lose Vicario, one of the 2 centre backs or Son up front, we're fucked. There is no cover at all for those positions of even close to the levels. No one is as good as Vicario. Vicario was excellent. There's no one close to him at the club. There is no one at the club that's even close to Van de Ven and Romero. And by the way, Mickey had a superb game yesterday. There is no cover.
Best defender on the day. 100%.
And Son, nobody is clinical even close to Son in the club. If
That's
we lose one of those four, Maddison as well. If we lose Maddison
in the league, club in the league,
two things.
We don't have any cover close to those guys. It's so difficult. I don't disagree with you, Lee. By the way, I'm just trying to think how Ange might have been thinking. That's all.
Can I say two things? And it took people who are not Spurs fans to even say this. And I said this on the stream because it happens to the best of center backs and people before. This happened to Van Dijk. I've seen it. And I've seen it happen to, and it will probably happen to Saliba if it hasn't already happened. There's sometimes where you can be very unlucky. In this case, Flex was saying this, and I was thinking the same thing. Is that Romero actually? Because everybody's coming back. Oh, I don't ever want people to say Romero is best. Hold up. Romero was unlucky those 2 times. It's not like he gave a bad pass that led to a counter and he scored or whatsoever. Other than those 2 unlucky plays, Romero played great. Except for those 2 unlucky plays. One, he's in a natural position. What the hell Romero is supposed to do in that position? And then the second one, he's getting pressured left and right. He doesn't know. So his reflex, even expressions, the way he explained it, and expressions is not the football pundit, was like he was very unlucky. These things happen. And yet we still dominated that game. Despite Romero being unlucky for those 2 times. So
I don't think Romero had a bad game. I don't think he had a bad game. All the Arsenal fans have slandered him. He didn't have a bad game. The penalty is just the penalty is subjective. The penalty is subjective. The first goal, though, the own goal, I do think he could have done better, but
he should just let it go. Is what he should have done. I know that he didn't know who was behind him. I know. But I'm saying if he would have let it go, it would have been 4 yards off post.
The problem I've got with that penalty decision, apart from the fact that it wasn't a penalty, is that when you lunge forward,
and they didn't get it, and this time they did.
Yeah, but when you lunge forward to do a block, that's where your arms go, because you've got to balance yourself when you're lunging forward. Your arms need to be out, right? So it's not in an unnatural position. It's actually in a natural position. And I think does that shot not take a deflection off one of our players and hits his hand?
Yeah.
That's not handball, surely.
I thought that was the rule.
This is what it is, man. This is what it is right now.
If it came off someone's
body,
right?
Coin, whether it will count as
Yeah, but I also thought that was the rule. If it deflected off a different part of your body and hit your hand, it wasn't a penalty.
And then
we did this. No. Will Stewart went through this last season. If the shot is going on target and it hits one of your own player's arm or body and goes onto a player for a handball, it's still a penalty. I actually argued this, saying, no, Will, you're wrong. And he brought the rules up from IFAB and the rule was changed. If I take a shot on goal and it's going towards goal, but it hits Will and then goes onto JP's hand, it's still a penalty. That's the new rule.
It was point blank, though. I mean, there was only a meter from the shot to the player.
Well, it's just simply subjective. That's all it is. And so this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why it's a flip of the coin, right? It depends on who's sitting in the seat in the thing. It's all down to, does the VAR official, but by the way, it wasn't called a pen on the pitch. Don't forget that. So you can't say that it's 100% a pen when the man on the pitch didn't call it and he was standing right there. So let's not act like this is like blatant a penalty, right? This was VAR calling in and making having him go over and look at it, and in slow motion you're seeing it, and it all comes down to the subjective opinion of, is his arm in a natural position or not? That's it. And the excuse that the VAR official gave on social media after the game was that because it looked like it would have been on target, that's why they asked him to look at it. But who cares? It should be a pen whether it's on target or not. It shouldn't matter if the shot's on target or off target. If it hits a hand, it's a handball in the box. It shouldn't matter if it looks like it stopped the goal scoring opportunity or not. A handball is a handball in the box. But
by the letter of the law, it was a penalty. By the letter of the law. But The problem is with the letter of the law is
Changes all
the
time.
referees have got too much scope to decide what determines unnatural position, because
Was it
there
too
was an
hard?
absolute-
Is it hand here?
I mean,
Yeah,
look, we
because-
have an example
because the
with
exact same
Romero
thing- the
himself
same
against
thing-
Manchester
the same thing
United. He
happened
goes,
against Man
he
United.
turns like
Exactly,
this and it
that's
hits
my
his
point.
hand, and they didn't give it. And then this time he
There
does
was
the exact
another
same
one.
thing, hits his hand, and they gave it.
Yeah, but
Listen,
And it went
there was
against
another
us
one.
against, who was it? Bournemouth, Sheffield United. I can't remember. We lost one where it hit his hand. Right, it was going on target towards the goal. The guy's falling down and putting his arm down away from his body and hits the ball before his hand hits the ground. And they didn't give a penalty then either, did they?
Listen, this whole handball unnatural position is just complete fallacy. It comes down to this: if your hand is next to your body, 9 times out of 10, it won't be given. Even if your hand's in a natural position for a movement that you could replicate 10 times, if your hand is away from your body, 9 times out of 10, that's being given as a penalty.
No, because
It's as simple
Romero,
as
that's
that.
not true, because Romero's hand was away
Well, it
from
is
his
because he
body
did it
against.
yesterday.
Hold on.
There were
Romero's
people
hand was
that
away
tried
from his
that
body
movement
against
yesterday,
Manchester
Will.
United, and he didn't get a pen then.
Well, then that's down to that comes back to referee interpretation.
Exactly, that's my
Isn't
point.
it?
Yeah,
It's
and that's
all
what he's
down to
saying, yeah.
referee interpretation of what
That's
they
what
think is
flicking
natural
the
or
coin,
not.
right?
It's almost like saying, well, I think he killed him, but maybe he didn't kill him, or yeah, actually he did kill him because his arm was up in the air or something like that. It makes no sense. You can't be consistent like that. You can't be consistent if it's open to interpretation.
Did anyone hear Ange's press conference afterwards? He was asked about the penalty, and
Yes.
Ange's answer was, "Does anyone know what handball is anymore? Because I don't." But he actually doesn't
Absolutely.
know. So I think
That's right.
I think if managers don't know, then referees can pretty much do whatever they want, and that's what they're doing. I don't blame referees. I blame the rules not being
clear enough,
more precise. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it with Shine, and the first thing I said to him was, "Oh, that's a pen," and he was like, "It was a pen." I kind of like we both called it would be, so it's
The
kind of those
second-
ones that are given, aren't they?
The second thing I was going to say, VDV reminds me of a young Vertonghen. He reminds me, I know it's early days, but as he grows each week, he reminds me of a young Vertonghen.
He's quality. He's quality. Yeah. He's so good. Yesterday he was one of our best players. Yesterday he was immense.
VDV was definitely. Yeah, he was good.
And as a youngster as well, as a youngster, he's just come. It's almost like he's taken this Premier League kind of in his stride, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I show this I'm watching the Manchester United one back, right? In this one, Romero's leaning back and his arms are out like this. Like even worse, this one was here, right? In Man United, his arms were out. He was running up with and he was kind of like lunging. And as he lunged, he put his arms up like this and the ball hit him right there. And they didn't give it.
Listen, we can talk about VAR and handballs to a blue in the face.
I just don't like the narrative that it's 100% blatant penalty, right? Because it's not. It's all down to subjectivity of the referee. It was given, so it was a pen. That's it. That's the only thing we got.
All right, so let's talk about that controversial Nketiah tackle, because everybody automatically said, no, it's not red because the studs wasn't up in the air. So I watched Man of the Match, and Ian Wright, who is Mr. Arsenal, even said, you know what? He said that slide could have, because if you look at the replay and the way he was saying it, the way he came in, the ball was already gone. The way he came in, that tackle could really still hurt the Vicario in his knee. He said that it could have been interpreted as a red. Ian Wright was, and I was shocked. Because
you don't have to make contact to get a red card. I mean, they normally don't. Hold on. According to the letter of the law, no contact was required at all, right? Like everybody says, he got the ball first. Doesn't matter, right? Contact doesn't matter. It's anything that is dangerous play. And if the referee considered it dangerous play on the day, he could give a red card if he wants. But like I said, all of the laws of the game come down to the subjective interpretation of the officiator on the day. That's it.
Because everybody was saying, no, the studs wasn't that high. The studs wasn't that high. And Ian Wright said, No, it's not really about studs. It's just the intent of the tackle. He said the tackle was a bad tackle and could have hurt Vicario. He said it could have possibly get red. He said he was lucky. Matter of fact, everybody said the Ketia was lucky he didn't get a red. He was lucky.
Now both feet up, one foot up. None of this matters.
I know it doesn't matter, but just you need to people need to get out of their heads this whole stud thing, right? It's nothing to do with studs. It's intention to harm.
Right. It's reckless. It's the difference between reckless and dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a reckless sliding tackle, whether he had studs up or not. He could have caught his ankle within his knees. He could have caught anything and really hurt him. So, but again, as you say, Will, it's down to the interpretation. I'm sure that VAR looked at that like they do with any of these type of things, and it was just brushed off. And it was like, no, there's no, they interpret it as though they could have done the same. Oh no, well, I'm not going to say that, but for me, it was a reckless challenge. He could have got a red card, but they interpreted it. No, it's just a yellow. End of story.
And that shot that Basuma took to the face could, by the letter of the law, have been a red card too, and it wasn't even given a yellow. In fact, Basuma got a yellow for getting hit in the face.
Yeah,
because it's in the law.
By the way,
if a person strikes the face of another opponent.
Sorry, guys, very quickly, we've got over 300 people watching and been watching throughout the whole show. Thank you so much for watching. Can you all please just hit the like button, subscribe? Definitely hit the like button. We've only got 148 people who've hit the like button. It's free. You don't pay.
It takes 2 seconds.
There is a super chat here.
Let's get us up to 175 likes. Come on, guys.
No, 200. 200. We're at 200, JP. Let's go higher. 200 likes. We've got a super chat here from Faz who said, has anyone interviewed Merson after the match? Now, if you don't know, in case anyone doesn't know, this Plonker, ex-Gooner, right? He was running his mouth on a live Sky Sports show. I don't know if Spurs could live with Arsenal. They're going to get blown away. His full comments were, I can't see anything but an Arsenal win. Arsenal will destroy Tottenham. I don't think Ange will change the way they play. He's been at Celtic for too long. Give Arsenal 14 shots and I'll see what happens tomorrow. Well, guess what? Arsenal had 14. We had 13. We both had 13. Merson, you absolute knobhead. You absolute knobhead. Does anyone want to talk about Paul Merson? Because these comments, just listen to this. Listen to this. This is an ex-pro footballer on one
of kids
the
at home. That is a plunger. It's nothing else. It's just a plunger. You use it to clean your toilets.
Right. This guy he was on one of the most popular sports shows in the world. I can't see anything but an Arsenal win. They're going to destroy Tottenham. Ange won't change the way he plays. He's been at Celtic too long. Just give us 14 shots. Everything, literally everything he said backfired. Like, how? How is he still allowed to work for Sky Sports?
He just makes himself look like an absolute knob, doesn't he? But he does it every time, doesn't he? Like, I get it's his bravado and his Arsenal background and stuff, but he needs to learn to shut up now and again. And I think who was it? Who was there on card? There was Dawson and Tim Sherwood. And even kind of like Tim Sherwood argued with him for a little bit, but it seems as if Dawson was going, go on, mate, go on, make yourself look like a fool. Carry on.
Have your 5 minutes of fame, as Box always said. Guys, does anyone want to comment on what Merson said? By the way, Faz, thank you for the super chat.
Big up, man.
Anyone want to comment on Merson's comments? His anti-Spurs chat, or we can't be asked? No. Okay.
I hope he reads them back. And go.
It's just nonsense. It's just not worth us commenting on. It's just utter nonsense, isn't it? I mean, it's just, what is there worth saying apart from he's a dickhead?
He's a dickhead. From Merson's comments, I want to quickly go on to another player's comments. This time, Maddison's comments. So this was the moment,
awesome.
Saka doing the dart throw when he scored, and for anyone that doesn't know, he stole that celebration of Maddison. So this is a Maddison celebration that he used. Anyway, Maddison was asked about the dart throwing that was stolen, the celebration, and his reply to Sky Sports was, He must have still been doing it when I turned him for the first goal.
That's a
I love
quality
James
response, isn't it?
Madison.
That's a quality response.
I
Isn't it?
love James Madison. He's becoming one of my favorite players ever for Tottenham Hotspur.
Definitely.
Just by the way, just for that, like the whole thing that he did with the corner kick too. When those it was a Bournemouth fans were giving him a hard time on the byline, and he rolled the ball away, and they're like, hey! And he's like, aha. Yeah. Just the wind up that he does on the pitch against people is it's great. Harry Kane never did that.
On the flip side of that, though,
he's
great.
Yeah,
listen, he's great. Oh yeah, go on. Sorry, go on. Do that first because that's a great one.
Listen, we got a $50 donation to the channel. London Bro, thank you so much. It's a massive donation. We appreciate it. Everyone on the panel. He's loving the show, he says. We love you being an audience member as well. Big up to you, brother. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
I was just going to say that as much as I love Maddison, giving the banter and all that kind of stuff, I think the one thing that he does need to change on match days is that you can see that he walks the line with the referee. There's a lot of times where he's a bit too vocal towards the referees and they're picking up on it, because I think he got a yellow card in the last match or the match before, just through mouthing off. And he almost got one in yesterday as well. And I think the referee just sort of had a word with him and said, look, you keep mouthing off, I'm going to do it again. So I think that's one little thing that he's got in his locker that he probably just needs to tweak a little bit, because that could, go against us, have an adverse effect. But other than that, he's funny. I love it.
He's getting hacked a lot though, Lee.
Oh yeah.
He is getting hacked a lot.
But this leads into my point. It doesn't matter. This whole issue.
Take the free kick and move on.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you can argue yesterday the whole White incident with I forget who the player was. Who it was, where he put his hands in his face. You could argue that any contact from hand to face, and it wasn't a tackle. After it was almost pushing off. Could be deemed as it could be deemed as aggressive, but. Rather than that being looked at, which is fine, they look at it and they say, no, it's not as right. Basuma got a yellow card for moaning at the ref because of that happened. And it's like it's like they've been told, give out as many cards as possible to stop people moaning. You've got to have, it's like football players have their opinion in a match. It's been completely taken away from them. They've just got to be silent or fear from getting a yellow card. And I think we're going to start getting more players that are going to get sent off through a generic yellow card and then being more mouthy. That's going to happen more often. I think it's just ruining the game.
I actually saw a stat. I saw a stat that there's been more yellow cards given out this season in the first 5 weeks than there was in the first 15 weeks of last season.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. It's more people are getting it, and I think it's just.
I mean, there were eight yellow cards yesterday. 8.
That's crazy.
Do people really
like? Was it 7?
I know.
Normally, this is because they
7. Sorry, 7.
The FA, and I'm guessing other FAs as well. They get data on disciplinary cases and disciplinary issues, and the referees. They can, they might not book you, but they'll send in a report after they've got to submit a match report. If in the match report there's a lot of dissent that's going on. Like in youth football, they've brought something called a sin bin, where if you show dissent, like throwing the ball on the ground or saying to the ref, "Oh, you're stupid, what are you talking about?" you don't get booked. They send you off the pitch for 8 minutes. So your team has, like doing ice hockey, sin bin, but they do it for quite a long period of time. The FA can't do that in football because it'll be carnage. So I think what they've done is, rather than they could introduce it, I guess, rather than doing a sin bin approach, what they've done is they've just said, right, just get tougher. But they would have only done that if there's data to show that they're getting a lot more complaints from referees and they feel that their referees are under threat. The FA will always protect referees,
It's protecting referees. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the same kind of communication that's come out in our youth game. At the beginning of the season, we have to have meetings and stuff like that to go through this kind of stuff. And it's quite clear that they are being protected more. Although it's funny in us because all of our referees are either voluntary or they're coaches. So it's to stop abuse from the fans. That's not the same as a player giving their opinion on the pitch of a and again, the referee can interpret whether they believe that someone is giving enough for them to give them a yellow card. They don't have to give them a reason. If they just say, well, you've been mouthy to me for the last 10 minutes, yellow card. It's as simple as that. They don't have to, there's no level to it, you know? And that's, I don't think Maddison goes over what he says. It's just his consistent, not arguing, his consistent wording back to the referees is enough to get him yellow cards and stuff like that. And I just think that's just, you know, grow a backbone and let that kind of thing go. I get the abuse. If it's abuse, it's abuse, but not from just having an opinion.
But they've been flipping those dissent cards like crazy though this season.
No,
like
mate.
Way
Honestly.
more than they ever have. Just to answer this guy's question, it's because we have high levels of testosterone, which is associated with big wangs.
Why are most Tottenham fans?
So nah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't-
testosterone, DHT. It's what causes male pattern baldness. It means we have high levels of testosterone, which is associated with having big wieners. That's just.
I am also bald. I'll just leave it at that.
There you go.
There you go. Because we've got big wieners. Do you know what I'm going to say to that comment?
Wait, it makes mine look bigger.
That's my answer to you.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
He
right?
asked. I just answered. Hey, don't shoot the messenger, folks.
We've played 6 league games, 4 of them away, only 2 at home. We've done really, really well, like really well, considering most of us thought we're going to finish 8th this season if we're lucky without Kane, and Ange is going to need time and he hasn't fully been back. But listen, I think there's not a Spurs fan out there right now that isn't saying, do you know what, we are really pleasantly surprised, like, wow. And I think we're all beginning to really appreciate Ange. We're enjoying the football we're playing, no doubt. And we're going into every game believing, do you know what, we can get something, any game we play now. Liverpool come to Spurs next. Now they're on fire. They look still early doors like they could be the main challengers to City this year. I'm not writing off Arsenal yet because I do think when their injuries come back, they'll be challengers. I don't think Arsenal win the league. I think they'll definitely challenge. But Liverpool, without Champions League, can rotate in the Europa Cup in the early group stages when they're playing like lesser teams. Whereas the Champions League teams, they can't really do that. Every game's tough. Liverpool for us, I think, might be a harder game than Arsenal away, you know. I don't know what you lot think about it, but we always get shit luck against Liverpool. And maybe this year the curse will be broken, but I'm actually worried about Liverpool at home. Arsenal away, I wasn't worried. I was confident. I said 2-2. I was confident about it, and I said it for a whole week. Liverpool at home does worry me. Their defence, I think, is weaker than Arsenal's, but their attack right now is on fire. Although, I don't know if you lot saw the game, the first 30 minutes against West Ham were missing chances galore, like really missing chances. So
West Ham was the better team in the first half, in my opinion.
Yeah, Will, I agree. We can get at that defence. There's no doubt. If Maddison's fit, Son's fit, and we ain't got no injuries going into this game, we can get at them. How do you not feel about the Liverpool game? Because part of me says, Jesus, man, we can really get into you. But the other part of me feels, shit, you lot are good. Like Liverpool are actually good this season.
Other than West Ham, have they really? What teams have they played this season so far? Have they played Brighton yet? Have they played Arsenal yet? Have they played any attacking teams that are going to come at them?
I'll get it up now and then put it up on the screen.
Well, while you're doing that, still, one thing I will say is like where we are now, and that we're starting to enjoy this kind of Ange kind of journey and train. When we first signed him, Celtic fans did actually say that, didn't they? You wait, you watch. He'll turn your club around. He'll get all of you together. He'll get everyone brought into the same direction as he's going in, and fair play.
Listen, I think all the Arsenal fans are going to hate me for saying this, but I think I'm quite a rational Spurs supporter, and I'll give everyone credit. But I think Liverpool may be a bit more clinical in front of goal, and I think that's what we've got to worry about. I think we can get at their defence, but I think they could be a little bit more clinical in front of goal, and that worries me a little bit. If we stand up like we did against Arsenal, I think we'd be okay, but that just worries me. And let's just see how good Salah is against Udogie. I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row that he's going to have a heck of a challenge on his hands down that left-hand side.
Liverpool's worst game, I thought, was actually that first game. They played Chelsea.
That Chelsea one.
Yeah, the Chelsea one. I remember that at the beginning of the year. I was like, what's wrong with Liverpool? But they were able. Then when I saw the Newcastle game, which at that time I thought was tough because they went to Newcastle to win shorthanded. As you can see there, the red. For me with Liverpool, I believe their defense, we can score in their defense. I actually think Arsenal has a stronger defense than Liverpool, and so we could score. I just think Liverpool are more clinical than Arsenal, and so that's why I worry because Mo Salah.
Are they though?
I
Are
think
they though? Masala is. Masala, if you give him enough shots, he'll score one.
Yeah,
right?
they're scoring 3.
Darwin Núñez can miss the broadside of a barn if he needs to. Right? He's no better than Jesus.
He's been better. They got Jota.
Is he though?
Gakpo. I think they're a little bit
averagely, it looks like they're getting 3 goals a
They may
game.
not be as clinical as Manchester City, but they're definitely more clinical than Arsenal in my book. And so I think it's going to be an open. This may be also 3-3. I said 3-3 against Arsenal this past Sunday. This may also be 3-3. This may also be 3-3. Their midfield, they got 4 number 8s, who are. I don't think they're physical. I just think they're very technical. McAllister. I can never pronounce Shabashai's name real well. I think they're more creative, more technical. I don't know if the physicality. So I like our Liverpool. I like our chances against Liverpool's midfield because Basuma was just bossing Sarr. So it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be an open game, but definitely Liverpool is much more clinical than Arsenal, in my opinion. Because, like I said, I don't rate Jesus. Nketiah, okay. Except for Saka, in comparison to Liverpool, I think Liverpool is more clinical in my book than Arsenal.
I mean, Darwin Núñez, and out of all the goals that Liverpool scored, he's only scored 3 this season, right? And then, which isn't a lot, but he is more clinical than he has been in the past, but he's still not great, 0.21 goals to shot ratio, right? Which he's normally like 0.11, which is really bad. So he has improved almost double the amount of goals to shot than last season, but you got to remember that last season, that's really bad, right? Out of 84 shots, he only scored 9 goals. That's not a very good ratio, right? But 14 shots so far this season, and he's got 3 goals. So they're doing better. I think Jota for me is their best.
I always felt that Klopp, when he faced Pochettino, always had Pochettino's number, apart from that one game where we beat them 4-1 at Wembley. I think for me with Liverpool and looking how they've been this season, it all comes down to how well they defend. Because I don't think the defense is anywhere near as good as it used to be when certainly during that COVID season when Van Dijk was at the top of his powers, and also going like you said, Will, going forward. Whilst Mo Salah's obviously their best attacker, I don't think he's been as good as what the media are making out either. So I know this is easy to say, but assuming we defend well and we dominate that midfield, then we've got a real chance.
Do you know what? I think this is definitely going to be one of those games where the first 25, 30 minutes decides it, because I felt against Man United, we gave them too many chances. And if they put a couple away, I think it could have been a different game. And again, with Arsenal, they had some chances that we gifted to them. And if they put a couple of them away, it might have been a different game. I think if we do the same thing, Liverpool will put them away. So for me, we've got to be much tighter at the back, but we need to be on the front foot. We can't let them have possession or get into the game early doors. We need to, the way we played second half against United and Arsenal, and the way we played the last 20 minutes against Sheffield United, where we really raised the levels. I think we need to start like that. I think if we start like that, I think we're really going to cause Liverpool some problems. Like,
See, one thing I think
damage. But if we don't,
we need to be on top. We need to be on top of them, don't we? Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stel, to interrupt. One thing I think that you predicted wrong against the Arsenal game, Stel, was you said that the wingers would be integral part of us getting anything out of that game, and I disagree. I think
I said that's where the game would be won and lost.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But it was the midfield, unfortunately. But.
Yeah, but it was the midfield, and I feel the same thing.
Both goals came from Stack. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think the main thing for us is how well we can dominate that central midfield part, because looking at how we play, as we saw when Maddison and Son went off, which is effectively the spine of the team, right? Certainly from a midfield and going forward perspective, we just, nothing was happening when they went off in comparison. And if that happens against Liverpool,
of
we're in
quality,
big trouble. Yeah, of quality.
The volume was still there, just wasn't the quality, right? Yeah.
Well, that's where I felt somewhat. If the substitution was, instead of Solomon coming on, Perisic came on, I could see a different outcome, because Richie and Perisic coming on, and then
someone in the
Perisic
air
always seems to cross
get
the
on the
ball
end
for
of
Richie. That's the only way Richie can score, right? So
the issue against Arsenal when we took off Son and Maddison, the issue there was Son scored both goals, Maddison created both goals, and you took both of them off, the assist maker and the goal scorer. So what did that leave us?
Which is
with?
what Lee said, right?
Yeah, and that was the issue, because that was our flow. That was our flow of the game. Gone.
So, if buts and maybes though, but if Bentancur was there, again, that massively would help.
Or
right?
even Lo Celso, if he was fit, I think would have been a better, still a drop off, but less of a drop off than throwing Højbjerg in that number 10 role, in my opinion.
Yeah,
this goes to show that bench is just not good enough.
We have injuries too. This is why I don't buy the Arsenal's whole injury list. You know, Lo Celso was injured, Bentancur's injured. Maddison went off injured.
Johnson went off injured.
Johnson went off injured. Son, you could say technically, if the reason why he got subbed off is because he had a thigh niggle, which is the report, was injured.
Yeah,
and we still made you look goofy.
See, this is one thing. This is one thing I agree with. He is so calm, isn't he? And
absolutely not a whiny bitch like Arteta. Not at all.
He's so calm.
He says that on the outside. He's probably just got a room full of fucking punching bags that he goes home to like that. After the match.
Yeah.
Just don't see it.
Or he just eats loads of kebabs.
Look, he just knows that his milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. That's all.
He's got a kangaroo farm and he just goes home and has a fucking he has a ruck with a kangaroo. That sorts him out.
I did say on Friday night show.
Before we move on, go on.
Yeah. No. Before we move on.
I was going to say, before we move on, one little bit for Havertz. How good was he?
Who?
Havertz.
Listen,
who?
I said it at the start of the show. These Chelsea rejects came on and it was absolutely delightful, because look, the beginning, they had Gallas and Czech, the rejects that cost them. Then they brought in Luiz and Willian, who cost them, and they never learn. Now we've got the latest batch who came on and cost them.
Why does that picture of Peter Petr remind me of Borat? Hi.
This reminds me of that movie.
Miss.
What's that movie where has anyone seen My Baseball?
No.
What?
Something about Mary. The brother.
Freg's and Baines.
Oh my god. Yeah, I said it on Friday night show. Like, the thing with Ange, he's got a very calm demeanor on game day. Listen, I bet he's a tough guy in terms of how he wants it done. But he's like that uncle you always go to speak to when no one wants to hear your issue. And he seems like that kind of guy, and therefore with the younger lads, they'll kind of buy into him and respect him. He's got that demeanor about him, Uncle Ange almost, not Big Ange, Uncle Ange. And I did say he's taken Celtic into Ibrox, the Glasgow derby, which is one of the most ferocious in the world. I don't think he'll get phased. And if you go back on Friday night and watch the video, I said Ange will play the game, not the moment. And he will feed that onto his players. We won't play the moment, we'll play the game. And that's kind of what happened. Ange's experienced, man. I watched Arteta during the game. He's on the touchline, frantic, do this, do that. I'm like, just sit your ass down for 5 minutes and shut the fuck up, Arteta. Like, literally, just relax yourself. Ange never once got hyped. Just, you know, he knew his place and he was calm with it. And I like that. But I really, really like that about him. For me, that's the kind of manager I prefer. I don't mind the kind of energetic, you know, animation on the side. I don't mind those managers, but I like the cool head because they're the assassins.
I don't think it's a cool head. I think it's an individual confidence because you see him in the press conferences too, right? He just doesn't give a fuck, right? Like, it's like, come on, mate. You know, he just does his little thing, right? You think this is amazing? Like,
that makes him
he doesn't
calm,
take. That's what I'm saying. Because it's the confidence that makes him calm, right? He knows what he's doing. He doesn't care all of the hype, the chatter, right? He doesn't come out and cry in press conferences because people played a low block at him. Klopp. He doesn't sit there and moan and cry about referees or the number of games or oh my gosh, we have 2 COVID cases. Let's cancel a game. Like, he doesn't do that, right? He just gets on with it.
It's almost like a psychology, a big psyop on
Facebook.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, is that a Facebook notification? Or is that just a
Facebook
comment? Big up, man.
Big up to Gigs.
I was going to say, it's almost doing like a massive psyop on the team, right? In the sense that he knows that the players are going to be watching him and seeing what he says in every moment as well. And he's making them believe by the way his demeanor is and what he's saying and his confidence in himself. And in a sense as well, he's doing a massive psyop on the fans as well.
100%.
In that sense as well, because now the fans just trust him to do what he's doing and they're fully behind him. So
and I think Daniel Levy too, because I think you just see how in love Daniel Levy was with him at the fan meeting, right? Like, I think he gets to the point. I think it might even get to the point where Daniel starts to fear how popular he's becoming, and is either one going to sack him out of spite.
About that.
Yeah, he's either going to sack him out of spite or he's going to back him. I think those are the only 2 options.
Well, wait a minute, just before the FA Cup final.
Yeah, just before the FA Cup final or at halftime in a game, right? You know, it doesn't matter.
Oh my God. Mason gets a 3rd crack at it. Fuck my life. Could you imagine?
Michael, you asked me a question, and it relates to Arsenal Gunnerman. This channel and myself, we have never not backed the manager. We have never always been pro the manager.
I'm the only one that backed Nuno, by the way. I don't want to hear any of that crap.
I never said Nuno out.
I didn't back Nuno because I knew he should never have got the job in the first. Anyway, go on.
I was never Nuno out, even on his last day.
But Daniel Levy in the board, that's a different question, and that's the problem that I have. I love what Ange is doing with the team and support him 100%. My problem is Daniel Levy in the board. I can only go by the evidence of the past 23 years. They have not fully backed any manager. And when I mean back is they will back him to a point to get us to top 4. But when it comes time to get over the line, Daniel Levy and the board will not do what needs to be done to back that manager. We can only hope that with Ange that they do. So right now, I can't think that's 2 transfer windows, 3 transfer windows into the future. I can only talk about now, but I like what he is doing with the team, and I like his. I love his leadership. But the problem is, as we all know, is Daniel Levy and the board.
But Mari, there's one, I can't remember what interview it was, but there was an interview with Ange, and Ange said that when he came to Tottenham, he made his demands incredibly clear to Levy and the board, and not to say that Jose or Conte didn't make their requirements clear, but everyone keeps saying how direct and how clear Ange is when Ange speaks in terms of his instructions and what he wants out of the players and his staff and everything. And I just wonder where, if he's, you know, as Levy says, he was speaking the same language to him, where he said, look, now you've brought me in, the team, recruitment, yada, yada, yada is my domain. And if anyone infringes on it, forget it. I'm done. And whether Levy heeds to that. I mean, 23 years suggests no, but
well, and he said that sitting right next to Daniel Levy in public, by the way. And this goes to this question here: is losing Gabonini bad for us in recruiting? Only if you think Paratici's doing a good job. It's the only reason why it's bad for us. But if you heard what Ange Postecoglou said at that fan thing, all of these conspiracy theorists, Alex Jones wannabes who were saying that Postecoglou was somehow the puppet master behind the scenes, whittling his fingers and getting us all these great signings. Ange said, I was given a lot of people, and I said no. Ange Postecoglou is responsible for who we signed this summer. Period. And that's it. No one else. No one else.
Yeah. And that's what we want. That's what we want, right?
That's exactly what we want. 100% that's what we want.
He better not be towing the line.
Big loss for the puppet master Paratici, though.
No one said Arsenal will finish above us. As a matter of fact, I expect Arsenal to finish second or third. I actually have Liverpool second, Arsenal third. So
no, we'll finish above Arsenal this year.
Also, Matthew, I'm sorry. Right?
Yeah, I'm done being rational.
Matthew, saying stop comparing yourselves to Arsenal, we're not your rivals. This is how I know you're a fraud.
Yeah,
Go
you're
to
not
the beginning
our
of the
rivals.
show. Go to the beginning of the show. Listen to the intro. It's your fan troop saying the first game we look for, Robbie, Tottenham away. Yeah, we're not.
When we got Tottenham
but we're
away.
not your rivals.
The first game we look for, Robbie, when we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. Tottenham away. Tottenham away. Tottenham away.
Can't stop talking about us, but we're not your rivals.
Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. The first game we look for, Robbie, Tottenham away.
Do you know what? In fact, I'll tell you what. There's not one Arsenal fan in the chat tonight that has shown any humility, who hasn't shown any educational learning of humbling. I wish more of you were like. No, one minute. I wish more of you were like this Arsenal fan, right? Just listen to this Arsenal fan today. Listen to what this guy said. You can learn from him, Arsenal fans.
In terms of writing you off, I apologize. You've earned respect because you've come there. You didn't go to plan B. You didn't go to plan C. You played the way you were saying. And Postecoglou said, I'm not going to change it. He didn't. He came to our turf, right? And we're meant to be title contenders. We're meant to be competing for the title. And you've come and you've shown no respect to us. And that's how it should be. You should not be showing respect to the opposition. And I'll be honest with you. When Ange says he scared us, he scared those players. 100%. They were startled. They had no answers to what you wanted to do. You did what you wanted. And that's how the game went.
100% right. But you got to understand that the comments that guy made before the game were absolutely ridiculous too. So don't give him too much slack.
He's sitting there with an Arsenal shirt today saying that.
But at least he's willing to walk it back when he's wrong. That's all that's good.
He was humbled, and this is. Listen, I walked out
and
the stadium.
If by the slim chance Arsenal finish ahead of us this season, I'll walk it back too.
Look, man, we're enjoying the moment. We did, we never expected to be doing well early doors. We thought it'd take maybe a year or two. We thought maybe Ange will be gone by Christmas once he's fed up.
At least a year, I thought.
And no, not buying a replacement for Kane after putting £100 million in the bank for selling him. Again, we thought, yeah, this is all going to go wrong. So look, we're enjoying the moment. Arsenal fans got cocky. It all went wrong for them. At least one Arsenal fan had the decency to just be humble about it. One question I did want to ask you guys as well is, in January, if Spurs are, let's say, in the top 4 race, we're still in the FA Cup because we wouldn't have played the first FA Cup game, but do you think Spurs will go and buy more than one player? Because the most we've ever bought is 2. Kulu and Bentancur. We've never really. Do you think Spurs will go and buy 2 or 3? No, not 2 or 3. More than 1 or 2 players in January, and just and if so, which positions do we need to get?
I would. Sorry, I'll just jump in. Sorry, I'll just start spouting off. But
no, go for it, man.
I was thinking about this a lot earlier today, and what bothered me was the fact that we've got 5 goalkeepers registered on the squad, right? And to me, that suggests that that anyone we buy in, those keepers are going to be deregistered as soon as those players come in, which means potentially we've got 2 or 3 spaces there to fill. I'd like to hope that we buy quality rather than quantity, so we don't just go out and buy any old player just to make up numbers. But seeing what happened when Maddison and Son went off at the same time does worry me a lot, if I'm honest with you, because Richie and Richie, he's just awful. Words can't express what I feel inside about how bad
header
that
last week,
player
Mass.
is. Well, yeah, I mean,
turn the game around. 1 header, 1 assist.
Does things Son can't do.
In only 14 minutes.
Yeah.
In only 14 minutes.
He is the pigeon after all. But yeah, so there's definitely as good as our starting 11 is when we're on song, and it's still early days. We shouldn't get carried away, but there are deficiencies in our squad depth for sure that we need to address. Certainly,
Get carried away. I think the top 5 is going to look exactly like it does now. The only difference is we'll be swapped with Brighton.
Possibly, but
that'd be nice.
Losing Perisic, I think, was a big blow. Certainly to get.
And
that
yes,
in
Arsenal.
terms
That
of
means
options.
you're 5th.
And if Bentancur comes back and he doesn't hit the ground running because he's recovering from his injury or he needs sharpness, we're still a little bit light in the midfield in terms of the creative aspect. Especially if Maddison gets injured, then what do we do? I mean, that's a really big problem. And we just need the backup for Son. We need a proper centre forward that with quality. I would love for Kyogo from Celtic to come in. I'm shocked we didn't get him, if I'm honest with you.
What about Ivan Toney?
Yeah,
I mean, we need to go derail them because we need to go derail that move to Arsenal. We need to go derail that move to Arsenal. He's going to look at Arteta and watch as they start to fall off, and after they lose to Man City at home and they start moving down the table and down the table. Ivan Toney's going to look at what Ange Postecoglou is doing and looking at his big double Ds, and he's going to pick
look at Uncle Ange.
big Ange over little Arteta.
There's three potentials, right? It's either Chelsea, us, or Arsenal. If Chelsea is still in the mud, I can't see him going there. There'd be no point.
But I think
but they could chuck a
I
lot
think
of money at
he
it,
would
right?
like to come to us if we're still in good form that we are. But if Arsenal are still, if they're going strong in Europe and they're going strong in the league, I can't see. And they desperately need a striker. And we do have Valise, we do have Sonny, etc. I think that his preference will be to go to Arsenal. I'll say
he's an Arsenal
fan. It will be Arsenal.
No, he's actually a Liverpool fan. He's not an Arsenal fan. He's a Liverpool fan. You can watch it from podcasts that he's done.
Ivan Toney will go to Arsenal. Ivan Toney will go to Arsenal for one reason only, because he will be the guaranteed first-team striker.
First-team striker.
Yep.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that's what's important to him.
And another reason he won't come to Spurs, we're not going to pay 100 million or whatever it is that they're going to be wanting from him.
Well,
they only want 50 to 60 million. That's the reports.
Well, no, that's fine, because if we pay him 100 million, then we just open a betting shop outside the stadium, and we'll get it back in a week.
I don't know if you guys, but almost went under the radar because of the North London Derby. Here's a problem. Scott Munn has taken over. Supposedly, they have their scouting director I'm still waiting. Who is this scouting director?
Needs to be done already, right?
It should be done because we need to know the philosophy of this director and what he's going to do.
No, we just need Big Ange. I don't care about anybody else.
The boy needs to start working now, Mari.
All those Muppets in the back room, I don't care about because look, we don't. Everybody, we're still on a data approach. Will no, we're not. Just let Big Ange do what Big Ange wants to do. He can bring in 30 kids from Japan for all I care.
Yeah, Scott Munn's first job. He's in now, isn't he? His first job is to sort out the director of football.
As long as Levy Baxter.
I think the other thing, Stella, I would say is that also we have to be cautious about going and getting people in January, also because of all that African Cup of Nations, a couple of people going away. Sonny will be away for a bit as well, so it needs to be quite tactically thought about as well, because you can't just go and get someone as a replacement who's not really going to play when they come back, right?
But what if we sign Tony? Why isn't Tony a week in, week out starter for us?
Because Son
surely we're not considering leaving Son in that 9 position if we were to actually sign a 9, right? He would go back out into the left where people say he can't play, but obviously he still can.
No, are you being sarcastic? Will you asking serious?
No, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being dead serious.
I think Son's
I don't know whether you would want
through the middle.
I don't think you can move Son. I don't think you can move Son.
Why?
Because he doesn't miss.
Because he's
Yeah, but
he scored
so you're
5
saying
goals.
Son will score
he
more
scored 5
goals.
goals in 6 games. Will he scored 5 and 6?
I realize 5 and 3 actually playing in that position. So you're saying that Son is now our striker. He is our 25, 30 goal season replacement for Harry Kane.
Easy. He'd done it before. He's doing it. He's on form now.
He's our striker
he's
now.
He's almost a quarter of the way on the way to that, isn't he?
Yeah, 5 and 3 games playing striker.
But we do need a plan B, and Richarlison is like plan Z.
He's
not
plan B, is he?
Well, then we need two. We need two. Then we need 2 left wingers.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I keep going on about Perisic.
Wingers.
Paris is gone at the end of the season. He's not. We're not giving him a new contract.
Yeah, I don't.
And he's going to be.
Oh, wait a
until
minute. Will, we got your favourite ever player.
Right.
Brian Hill, please.
Brian Hill. He's going to use Brian Hill. He's going to use.
You might as well stick up a training dummy out there on the left hand side. You'll get as much end product.
Do you know what's worrying about Brian Hill? If you look at the way we go about football, quite a big element of our play is physicality, and Brian Hill he's just
none
not strong,
and he has no assists. He's not an assister, and that's what we need. We need the left winger must find Son's feet in the box. That is, if you're going to leave Son up top, that must be priority. A creative left winger. If they score 5 or 6 goals, that's fine. If you look at Jota and what Jota did for Thiago at Celtic, all he did was find him. That's it. He only scored like 5 goals, but he had like 10 assists. Right? So you gotta find somebody to find Son's feet if you're gonna leave Son in the middle.
If we only sign 2 players in January, would you want a centre back
right here.
and cover for Maddison, or a centre back and cover for the wide area where Perisic is injured, or do you want a centre back and a backup striker, or do you want 2 midfielders and don't worry about centre backs? I would go for a centre back. I think we desperately need one. But let's say we only get 2 now. I'd go for a replacement for Perisic and a centre back as cover, unless we do something with Ashley Phillips and Veliz, which covers those 2 positions. But they need to start playing matches. They need to be given game time then, and then we can just focus on a left wide player instead, getting a left wide player. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think a centre back is a must, because as much as Ange praises these younger guys like in Ashley Phillips and obviously this other new kid that we've got in, but obviously we're not going to see him for a couple of years. I'm sure he he knows that they can play in those positions. But what worries me is, depending on who gets injured, right? Do you say Van der Ven gets injured, Ashley Phillips comes in, and he's got a Romero that's there and confident, or on the flip side, if Romero gets injured, there's Ashley Phillips coming in, and then all of a sudden you've got two younger centre backs. Now Van der Ven looks years ahead of his age, but you're still too young. So
He's suddenly becoming the senior
it's a
person
seesaw,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we still need a centre back with some experience to cover either of those two.
Yeah, somebody maybe like 24, 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
Not. I don't mean like, but for me, I agree with Lee. I think center back's got to be priority A, and then I think there's one player that I don't care how much he costs. If we go out and buy him, we end up finishing high in the table, even possibly high as a second, and that's Eze. And the reason why is because he can play on the left if we need as a winger when Maddison's healthy, and he can play in Maddison's role when Maddison's not. Right, the amount of cover that he gives us in our two weakest spots right now would actually benefit us to the point. I don't think there's going to be a drop between him and Maddison in the midfield, but it's not a big one. And he's far better on the left than anybody we got right now.
Has he got that same
Bentancur's not a creative midfielder, right? He's an 8. He's not a 10. He's not the same ilk as Maddison, but Eze can play that attacking midfielder role.
Yeah, but does he dictate play like Maddison does?
Yeah,
that was
on the
my
ball,
fear
dribbling, running at people.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Is
that dictating play or is that just attacking?
I don't know about big game. He plays for Crystal Palace, right? I mean, they don't have many big games, right?
Is there a difference between in Crystal Palace and just grabbing the ball and dribbling versus what Maddison does, which is that and dictates the tempo and makes things happen?
I just think Eze would be a perfect fit. Like the amount of cover that we would get across that midfield and front line would be.
There's a player who's cheaper. There's a player who's cheaper who can play on the left. He scores goals and he creates, and no one talks about him anymore. Right? He's been frozen out. I don't know whether we can get him because of the club he's at, but he'll be cheaper. And I always rated him. I've always rated him.
Jack Grealish?
Emil Smith-Rowe at Arsenal.
No, hell no. Stop, Stel.
No,
fuck that.
Come on, mate.
He's a good player. No. He's a good player.
He's not Eze.
He's
tainted.
I said there's a cheaper option. No, he's not.
I don't want the cheaper option. Stop being Daniel Levy, Stelios.
All right,
no,
Levy,
I'm saying,
calm down.
Because
shave your beard, you Levy-loving son of a gun.
No, but you're being deluded. Right? No, I'm realistic. Because we are not going to spend £70 million on one player who's got 1 year left on his contract, by the way.
They're not going to ask for £100 million, man.
No, didn't he just sign a new contract in the summer? Just so that he can
maybe I'm wrong about the
getting
contract.
the money.
I read it somewhere. Maybe I've read it wrong then. But we are not going to spend £70 million on a player in January. No chance. It's not going to happen. We're not going to do
Why
it.
not? We just sold a player for £120 million, so why can't we? Or £105 million, why can't we?
Because we're going to use that for the spend in the summer.
Go, Will.
I've Emil Smith-Rowe, we can get for about 25 to 30 million. And he's
Talk to his parents, man. Talk to his parents.
He's a good player, mate. He's a good player. I don't know why
is
Arsenal
he a
froze him
gunner?
out. He came on yesterday, right, with about 10 minutes to go, and I'm thinking, how has he not come on ahead of half these idiots that Arteta's brought on? I know he's a gooner, but he's a good player, man. Smith-Rowe's a good player. Just my take on it.
So he didn't sign it. So Eze didn't sign a new contract. What they did is he did like a 2-year extension. So he has 2 years left on his contract, and that's it.
Yeah, which
And
means
he's only on £30,000 a week. That's it.
Well,
Eze's on 30K a week.
You'll only get 35 with Levy, right?
I'll get 80. Even Harry Winks was getting 80. Come on now.
Do you know what? Have you seen Wolves this year? Wolves have got quite a good midfield.
Podence is another shout too. Is Podence still at Wolves, right?
Yeah.
Podence. Yeah. They've got Wolves have got some good players in them.
Neto, Podence.
You know.
Yeah, but are they the players that are going to take us forward though? It's one thing getting cover, and there's another thing.
They're Premier League proven.
Kubo's tearing La Liga up.
He's like Brian Hill. Like he's little, man.
Yeah, I don't want
I think he might be.
See, I worry about Solomon because when Solomon came on, he looked like Jose Dominguez.
I said that.
He looked like Brian Hill, to be honest with you, when he came on against Arsenal. I was not.
Solomon,
Look, Solomon's going to be. I told you guys this the second that we signed him, and everybody laughed at me. I said he is our absolute new Lucas Moura. There was times when Lucas Moura came on, and we loved him. We love, Ajax, all these different performances. He comes out and he's going to have a banger every now and again. But then majority of the time, we're just going to cuss him. And it's not because he's a bad player or a person. It's just because I love Lucas Moura. He was one of my favorites. It's just that's just the amount of quality that he has.
I don't think he's a bad player, but by any stretch, I just don't feel, certainly in the big games, that he's going to be as effective as we want him to be. Great for the mid-table, the lower teams in the league, but for the top six, I just can't see him being effectual.
Impact.
That sort of happened with Moura as well, actually.
We made a big mistake letting Lucas Moura go without cover for Maddison, because I tell you what, as much as people slagged off Moura, he would have been perfect in this system we're playing. I think Moura
Jose Mourinho. I don't know. I think he's. I don't know. Like I like Moura. I think he's done.
But when you look at the cover we've got and what we failed to bring in, we should have kept him until we got
right now. We don't have any cover on right wing at all. I guess maybe Brendan Johnson's kind of swapping back and forth both sides. But if he's out now for a couple of weeks, what are we gonna do? Like seriously, we are so thin right now on the wings that if one more guy gets hurt, we got nobody, bro. Nobody. We're gonna end up putting Merson in and playing Pedro Porro at right wing.
But the worst thing is if anything happens to Adogi, right? Because that's like that side.
But that's not a bad shout, though, is it? Though, Will? Really, if you think about it, I mean, we were talking about Pedro Porro playing in that front three at the start of the season, weren't we?
As a possibility, yeah, but like that's like, if the zombie apocalypse happens, which looks like it's about to. But
did anyone not see what happened against Brentford when Emerson played? I know he scored, but did you see Chicken Royale defending? We were getting roasted. Like he can't. Like for me, Chicken Royale. It's time to find a way to get him out of the club. He's not good enough. He's better than the pigeon, but he's still part of the bird family. We've got to ship out.
But we're a cockerel, man. Come on, birds got to stick together.
And from the reports, it looks like that both Lo Celso and Højbjerg want to leave in January anyway. Like that's
Cubed. Cubed made an amazing point. AFCON when we lose Basuma and Sarr, isn't it?
You said earlier.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said just now. Yeah.
And if Højbjerg leaves,
then it's going to be like 1 or 2 games, isn't it?
Oh my god!
That's what I'm saying. If we sell Dyer, Højbjerg, and Lo Celso in January, why can't we buy Eze?
That's money there, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's money.
Why can't we?
Filpy.
It looks like we need to do business, doesn't it? I mean, the fact that we've got 5 keepers in the squad is just big problems.
And
real big
I think
problems for us.
I think even come then, it'll be a nice opportunity to kick on again, I guess. Because looking at the way we're playing now, obviously it can be maintained, but there's going to be drop off because we're going to get injuries here and there. We've already got a couple, which looks like it's impacting straight away. So it will also be nice to get some fresh blood in just to kick on to the back end of the season.
If we're not going to bring in enough players in January, then over the next couple of weeks, we've got to start phasing in Veliz and Ashley Phillips. We have to. Otherwise, we are going to open ourselves up to big problems.
Well, the Veliz thing is that's what he's been saying, isn't he? Is the second half of the season. It sounds like to me that he's getting game time in the under 21s, ready to potentially step up for when Sonny moves to thing. Because I can't see that he can start Charlison in Sonny's boots for however long he's away. It's just it can't happen.
So there's some people. There's some so if you go on like FBref. If you go on FBref, there's like similar players, so like James Maddison, and the list is other than Odegaard and De Bruyne, you have Baena at Villarreal, Requiem at Atletico Madrid, Zielinski at Napoli. Have you guys heard any of those guys?
I'm not sure we can sign any more foreign players. By the way, I don't think I think we've met our quota.
Well, if we get rid
if
of
we stop
Lloris,
registering one, Lloris is gone.
If we get rid of Lloris,
Lo Celso's
'cause, like,
gone. Højbjerg's gone.
January would be a good time.
We'll have 3 spots.
We're back into that, yeah, but then see, we're in that problem zone again. Of we've got to sell before we buy. We're back in that problem zone then if we do this.
We already are in that problem zone if we have to sell to buy. I mean, we're planning on selling in January, so why not? Why not get rid of 3 and get in 2?
If Lo Celso stops being injured all the time and actually gets into the team and actually has a run of games, then maybe we won't need a Maddison replacement. But he's always effing injured constantly.
I think we should sign Zielinski because we need to get a Polish guy in for Michael. He needs someone to root for.
It's true.
Yeah, I agree with that comment. I trust that Ange is already thinking about January. And he's already got ideas planned out there. We just have to trust that he's going to do the right thing. Because as he said, no one comes in unless I give this final say so on it. If it doesn't work for my system, then I'm not going to want it. We just he knows where the frailties lie in the team, and I'm sure he's already got people out there. Or director of football comes in the next couple of weeks, Scott Munn does his job and sorts that out. Then the first thing they're going to sit down and do is let's plan for January. Simple as that.
I don't trust Scott Munn. I don't like the sound of Scott Munn at all. Getting rid of Gabardini was a stupid move. You've got rid of one of the key scouts behind our summer. We actually had a decent transfer window on reflection. You've got rid of one of the key guys. It's just stupid.
How's Napoli doing this year? We could go in and try to nick that Kvaratskhelia guy from Napoli.
Kvaratskhelia is a top player.
Yeah,
the thing is still,
it's going to be real difficult. You'll have to pay a hefty price.
Yeah, but they need money. We could get him for 80 million euro, no problem. I bet you.
We could have got him for 20 million, but we said no.
Because everybody's like they're going to get Osimhen. That's how people. Because Napoli is like my Italian club, and the Di Laurentiis says, "Oh, if you're gonna get Osimhen and an alphabet name, it's gonna cost you big time." And Osimhen was at 175, so I can only imagine close to K is gonna cost around that range.
Yeah.
What range?
The 140s, the 150s.
No, it's bad.
150.
Yeah. It's crazy, but
guy's got 1 assist in 5 games, and he's worth 150 million. I don't think.
Well, they're based off of last year. The thing is, this year, teams
last year he had 12 goals and 10 assists, and that was the only year that he did anything, though.
The teams are playing better because, like I said, the Napoli. Well, first of all, Napoli did the most stupidest hire. Rudy Garcia. He is so overrated. This guy, I don't know how he gets jobs. He failed at Roma. He failed, in my opinion, at PSG. How we went for they went from Spalletti to Rudy Garcia is really messing up Napoli, and I think De Laurentiis, who can sometimes act like Levy, got to almost like a Poch deal. It's like, Spalletti, yeah, you're going, and Spalletti's okay. I'll become the national coach of Italy, and now people are starting to murmur in Napoli. People are starting to murmur in Napoli because they can see the difference. Rudy Garcia is not a Spalletti. And so that may be affecting some of the players. So you may be right. There may be some unsettledness there because Napoli is not the Napoli of last season as of today.
You don't need him anymore, Mario. You can bring him over to Spurs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, 100%.
It's like we'll have him back. So Well, yes, we'll have them back in a few weeks, but I bet you any money, a week later they'll be injured again.
And even when they do play, they don't do anything. So what's they might as well just stay on the injured roster, right?
Guys, we need to start wrapping it up. We've been going for now 2.5 hours tonight. We've had over 300 people watching live the whole time, guys. Thank you so much. Big up to all of you.
How are you guys liking the shiny knob so far? Is it better than the football philosopher or what?
We had 200 likes, so thank you for the likes
man.
and the notifications. Just quickly go around the table.
It's very happy clappy, Will.
Yeah. I need to change my Twitter profile. Instead of football philosopher, soccer tees, I'm going to add shiny knob next to it. So.
Why is it every week we somehow manage to talk about penises?
I don't know. Because you put a picture up with some dildo on some guy's face. I don't ask me. I'm not the one that did that.
You're the one who started it.
Paul Merson. He's a dickhead. Okay.
That's a dick nose, not a dick head.
It's on his head. It's all right. Anyway, JP, when your last comments, thoughts?
Last comments, thoughts are I am gassed for everyone. Everyone's in a good place. The fans are happy. The players look strong. They look together. There's a smile and a buzz around the place. And you know what? Long may it continue. And Arsenal, thank you very much. We were, what was that? Come and play your ball. Come and play your Ange ball at our house, and we'll get slaughtered. 3-0, 4-1, 5-1, all those stories I heard. Well, guess what? Bottled it. Their players bottled it. Didn't turn up, didn't show up, bottled it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll be back next year. On to the next. We go to Liverpool, they go to Man City. We'll see. Looking forward to the Liverpool game. Everyone will be there, everyone will be buzzing, it'll be on a super high. And if you're there, come say hello to Stella and me.
I won't be at that game though. I've had to give my ticket away.
Come say hello to me.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm missing it, man. Gutted. Go say hello to JP. Go do an interview, JP, post-match fan interview. Will, final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts. I'm glad that the Gooners are awake now. They've been red-pilled from the matrix that they've been living in to make them think that they're actually a good team. I'm sorry that, we had to be Morpheus and wake you up when you didn't want to be woken up, but somebody's got to do it. Come to our house and play like you did yesterday, and we will slap you. We will slap you silly, and then we'll tickle your willy, and I'm out. Stell, back to you. I'm done.
Mari, any non-penis outro comments?
It's a lyrical genius, that man.
The way that I can say is, I'm really happy about this team. Really proud of the boys. They fought, and we got a result. And now that I think about it, even watching the game again, I kind of felt, man, we should have got the 3 points. We should have got the 3 points. And now it's on to Liverpool, another test. I think it's going to be another good showing. And I think this is good, and we're making progress. And that's all we can ask from the team. And as a fan base, we just take it a game at a time. We're a level-headed channel, and we see the progress.
Phil, I did not look like Amrabat.
He looked more like Nuno Espirito Santo than he did Amrabat.
Goddamn Ric Flair wannabe.
Big up, Phil.
Maz.
Lost
my train of thought.
Maz.
Yep. Pretty pleased with our progress so far. I think that result did the world of good for the fan base, for the players, for Ange, in the belief in what they're doing. I'm with Mari. I'm enjoying the progress we've made. I still think we need to take it a game at a time. I I don't think any of us are under any illusion that we've got a long way to go as a team this season. You know, I'm just pleased that we've proven that Rice, Odegaard, Jesus, Saliba, who else in their team? All frauds, basically. Like, they wouldn't even get into our team. So
I take Saliba and Ryan. That's it.
Well, backups maybe. But, you know,
I still want to know how the fuck Darren Bent got away with doing a combined 11 of no Spurs players whatsoever in that team.
He's a dirty gooner. That's
like, in all seriousness, like, I don't want to extend this any further, but if we did a combined 11 now based off that last game, how many of their players would get in?
Off the game?
Saliba.
Well,
Saliba.
Zinchenko
had a good
yeah,
game.
but over a Doji?
No, I don't think so.
Not better than a Doji, though.
White over Porro? No.
Zinchenko's right back, isn't he?
Poro, we didn't talk about Poro tonight, and I thought Poro was fabulous.
He had a good game.
Like all this, look, I am the only one that stuck up for Poro over the summer.
No, you're not.
Maz did as well. I remember.
Poro has
all the Poro hate from last season, and I said, look, the guy's just got to get under his feet because what I saw, he had quality. Will was right again. Back to you, Rama Hatstel. I'm done.
No, there's someone who bigged up Poro before you, and he said, I hope we sign this player one day. And we ended up signing him, and he was so excited, and then he left the channel. Do you remember Charlie, young Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie said it. Charlie said it. He said that Poro sport in Lisbon. It was the first one that ever mentioned it. Back to you, Will.
Lee's turn.
Instead of Amrabat, I'm going to call you Ramanastel.
Oof. That's a bit harsh. Sofiane, what about this one? Sofiane Stelrabat. I can go with that one. I'll go with that one.
Pororo, that's right.
Yeah, Lee, final thoughts.
That's right, Cube did too.
Nothing more to add, really, guys. It's just waiting to see what comes out over the next couple of days in terms of news on Maddison and Johnson. Hopefully, looking at it, some people have been saying that Johnson's not a bad injury. It's just a bit of a muscle strain. Wait to see what happens with Maddison. Keep your eye on the old YouTube channels and see if they're out training, and then just wait for Saturday night. It's going to be an interesting one, I think.
Yeah, we'll be doing the live watch along as well. Oh, by the way, this week, when are we live? We're live on Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be doing my Friday show. Yeah, so there'll be loads of shows. Ziggy in the morning. The other guys will be doing random shows whenever. So, yeah, we'll be going live all week long. Big up to all the super chats tonight. Thank you, Ryan Isaacs. Thank you to Joseph. Tom81, who became a new channel member tonight. Thank you, Tom. Joe Linton, thank you. Newcastle friend. Faz with a super chat, and also a massive thank you to London Broil for a huge donation to the channel. Thank you so much, London Broil. My final comments are, do you know what? I'm just going to leave you with this. Arsenal fans, you're in the mud.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away.